Objectives. Investment advisory services offered only through investment advisory representatives at Golden Reserve Retirement LLC, a registered investment advisor. Gregory Ayler does not provide investment advisory services nor insurance and annuity products. Insurance products offered through licensed professionals at Golden Reserve LLC, insurance licensed in Alabama, Arizona, California, Florida, Georgia, Idaho, Illinois, Indiana, Iowa, Kansas, Kentucky, Maine, Michigan, Minnesota, Missouri, North Carolina, Nebraska, New Hampshire, New Jersey, Ohio, Oklahoma, Oregon, Pennsylvania, South Carolina, Tennessee, Texas, Virginia, West Virginia, and Wyoming. Annuity guarantees rely solely on the financial strength and claims-paying ability of the issuing insurance company. Exposures to ideas and financial vehicles discussed are not designed nor intended to be applicable to any person's individual circumstances. It should not be considered as investment advice, nor does it constitute a recommendation that anyone engage in or refrain from a particular course of action. Past performance is not a guarantee of future results. Investments can fluctuate and when redeemed may be worth more or less than when originally invested. Golden Reserve Retirement LLC, Golden Reserve LLC, Golden Reserve Tax LLC, and Ayler Stallings LLC are not affiliated with nor endorsed by the Social Security Administration or any other government agency. Legal services offered by Ayler Stallings LLC. Tax services offered through Golden Reserve Tax LLC. The previous program is paid for by Golden Reserve.
There's so much to talk about in retirement, but you have so little time. Just listen to the Fire Your Financial Advisor podcast. Like and subscribe wherever you get your favorite podcasts.
The proceeding was paid for by Golden Reserve. Information on the program was intended to solely further the public's general knowledge about the product. Opinions expressed should not be relied upon for any purpose by any member of the audience. News Radio KDKA does not guarantee the accuracy of any of the information heard on the preceding program.
KDKA and KDKA-FM HD2 Pittsburgh. W261AX Pittsburgh.
Always live on the free Odyssey app. From the Aetna Medicare studios.
Proud to be the voice of Pittsburgh. 100.1 FM and AM 1020 KDKA.
This is CBS News on the Hour, your home for original reporting.
I'm Heather Bosch. More explosions in Tehran as the U.S. and Israel attempt to destroy Iran's military. CBS's Matt Gutman.
As the war continues to expand geographically from Lebanon to Azerbaijan, Iran's missile attacks on Israel are decreasing.
Streets are empty here, but this is only the second sirens in the past 20 hours.
Israel says it has destroyed up to 60% of Iran's missile capacity.
President Trump says the United Kingdom is considering sending 2 aircraft carriers to the Middle East. But in a social media post, Trump wrote, "We don't need people that join wars after we've already won." Iran is attacking Israel as well as its neighboring Gulf states. The BBC's Plet Ulsher with the latest.
There have been attacks throughout the day. There was a missile intercepted here in Qatar, a couple of attacks in the United Arab Emirates. The UAE said that it had intercepted 15 out of 16 ballistic missiles. The Revolutionary Guards put out a statement saying that they had hit 2 military bases there. They've also talked about hitting some naval assets as well. So I think that the Gulf nations will be judging this by actions rather than statements.
6 U.S. soldiers who died in the conflict are back home in the U.S.
President Trump traveled to Dover Air Force Base to attend the dignified transfer of 6 U.S. Army Reserve soldiers killed in the war with Iran. Officials say the troops were part of the 103rd Sustainment Command. The president met with their families as their remains were returned to U.S. soil. Stacey Lynn, CBS News, Washington.
Storms are blamed for 4 deaths in southern Michigan and 2 in Oklahoma. Reporter Eden Jones is checking out damage to Tulsa Tech campus.
There's also significant damage to the inside of the buildings on campus. Some law enforcement and cleanup crews are on scene assessing the damage, but they're being careful because the structural integrity of the building is under question.
There's a new reason to cross borders in Europe.
Council of Europe data shows Europe is seeing a major migration reshuffle of skilled workers returning home and not driven by refugees. Migration Policy Center Director Andrew Geddes.
The centerpiece of European integration is free movement.
They're adapting and changing, looking for stability, cheaper living, and working remotely.
Migration is more reflective of deeper underlying changes in our economies and political systems.
With Europe's ease of mobility, Geddes warns American politicians don't close the door to migrants.
The risk is to throw the baby out with the bathwater.
Brad Gibson for CBS News, Paris.
The report says high-skilled workers coming home include nurses and engineers. This is CBS News.
I want to know what's going on in the world.
I'm Tony.
There are big questions that all of us are asking. I want to get you the answers.
How are you?
I'm Tony DeCopel. Join me on the CBS Evening.
Okay, I have to tell you. I was just looking on eBay where I go for all kinds of things I love, and there it was.
That hologram trading card. One of the rarest. The last one I needed for my set. Shiny like the
designer handbag of my dreams. One of a kind. eBay had it, and now everyone's asking, ooh, where'd you get your
windshield wipers? eBay has all the parts that fit my car. No more annoying, just beautiful.
Millions of finds, each with a story. eBay. Things people love.
Jen, I didn't know you shopped here.
Hey, I'm hunting for something fresh for spring.
Oh, girl, skip them all. Jewelry Television has the best spring looks right now.
JTV, way ahead of you. Just hit up JTV.com yesterday, scored the cutest clover earrings, 2 tennis bracelets, and this gorgeous pearl ring.
Right now, new customers get $20 off any purchase of $99 or more at JTV.com.
Oh, and gold hoops and this turquoise bracelet.
Just a couple things, huh?
Maybe more than a couple.
Virginia's legislature has passed a bill banning schools from teaching falsehoods about the January 6th, 2021 Capitol riots.
The bill says schools cannot suggest the event was a peaceful protest. They must teach that it was an unprecedented violent attack for the purpose of overturning the results of the 2020 presidential election. The state Senate approved the bill by a 21-19 margin. All of the Senate's Republicans voted no. Virginia's Democratic Governor Abigail Spanberger is expected to sign the bill into law. She was serving in Congress at the time of the insurrection. President Trump pardoned more than 1,500 Capitol riot defendants. Michael Wallace, CBS News.
Strict voter ID laws have stalled in the U.S. Senate, but Republicans in some states are pressing ahead with similar measures. Bills requiring people to show proof they're citizens to register to vote won final approval this week in South Dakota and Utah. A similar measure has passed in the Florida House. I'm Heather Bosch, CBS News.
The KDKA AccuWeather forecast is brought to you by JP Roofing and Siding, Pittsburgh's #1 Platinum Preferred roofing replacement contractor. Call 412-829-7711.
Today looks even warmer with some showers and a thunderstorm for the afternoon. Any storm may be severe with damaging winds, hail, even a tornado with a high of 76. Showers and storms wind down later tonight with a low of 48, leading to a less warm but sunnier day tomorrow, high 63. Then clouds and sun Monday, high 72. For AccuWeather, I'm LaTroy Thornton, 100.1 FM and AM 1020 KDKA.
Hear about it, then talk about it. 100.1 FM and AM 1020 KDKA.
The electrical industry have a strong work ethic and take pride in your work? Well, the International Brotherhood of Electrical Workers
We good? Okay. Sorry, everybody. This is Brandon McGinley. I'm here at KDKA this evening, filling in. I am the editorial page editor for the Pittsburgh Post-Gazette, and I am going to be with you for the next 3 hours. And, there's no shortage of things to talk about tonight. I want to eventually get around to talking about stuff close to home. But it's hard to focus on close to home when there's so much going on around the world. I can't remember the last time, I can remember the last time I felt this uncertain about the state of the world and about what will be coming next. And it was 2020. It was the beginning of COVID. It was that night in March when the NBA first canceled a game and everything kicked off from there. And with what's going on in Iran, in Israel, with the effects of what's going on there in this country that are extremely unpredictable right now, I'll tell you, I cannot remember the last time I have seen such radical differences in perspectives on the world. when I log on to social media, when I read the news, when I read the commentary, not just the commentary in this country, but the commentary from around the world, it's as if there are two entirely different worlds that are being described. One of them is the one that is being shaped by the White House, that is being shaped by Donald Trump and the administration, which is that things are going great, that nothing could be better, that in short order, there will be a definable victory in Iran. The Strait of Hormuz, which most people probably didn't know existed until about a week ago, but is absolutely essential to the global economy. It will be reopened. Iran will be quickly. New leaders will be installed who will be pro-America, who will turn the Middle East into a part of the world where the U.S. has almost total dominion, and that this will happen soon. That's one side, and I've seen some people say with absolute confidence that the United States has this situation, and Israel has the situation in Iran completely under control. That Iran's military has been, for all intents and purposes, obliterated, that its ability to throw rockets and drones at its neighbors is so diminished that it's basically no longer worth talking about, or at least won't be in short order. That's one possible world that we might be living in right now. But then there's another one that I've seen described over and over again that's basically the exact opposite of that. It's the world where the United States does not have the situation under control, where Israel does not have the situation under control, where Iran will be able to continue to fire drones and missiles at its neighbors for weeks, maybe longer. This is the world where escalation is happening right now as we speak, with no off-ramps. Today, the U.S. and Israel bombed several oil refineries in Iran. This is civilian infrastructure, important for military purposes, to some degree or another, but fundamentally civilian infrastructure. And so now there is speculation that Iran will do the same, to an even greater degree than it already has, in Bahrain, in Dubai, in Saudi Arabia, in Kuwait. Iran has claimed, and it's impossible, by the way, to verify these things. I remember during Iraq when the U.S. embedded journalists with the army so we could get basically live feed of what was going on. So there was no question about what was going on. It was clear enough. It was right there. Now, of course, you can't know everything, but there was a sense of openness. This time, we have no idea. So Iran has claimed that the United States bombed a desalination plant on an Iranian island. Desalination plants take seawater, remove the salt, and turn it into drinking water. Much of the Middle East depends on desalination. The small Gulf nations of Oman, Bahrain, Qatar, much of Saudi Arabia, Kuwait, Israel, for that matter, depends in large part on desalination for their drinking water. Now, Iran is claiming that the United States bombed an Iranian desalination plant and is indicating that it is willing to do the same. That would mean a massive humanitarian catastrophe, especially because the only other way to bring in water to the Middle East, drinking water, not seawater, would be to bring in massive ships full of clean water through the Strait of Hormuz into the Persian Gulf, but it's closed. I see people talking about oil prices and gas prices that are eye-watering. that we've never seen before. And I'll be honest, it's all but impossible to know which of these worlds is the one we're living in. The world where this is a limited, effective U.S.-Israeli military operation where the end is just around the corner, or whether we have kicked off something that we have absolutely no idea of level of complication. We have absolutely no idea, and it will have effects that won't just be high gas prices in April, but potentially high gas prices or high other prices, because everything depends on oil, for several months or longer. And that's a small effect compared to the further destabilization of the Middle East, compared to the effects on the financial markets of the world. And I find it all but impossible to know because, again, unlike previous wars, there's always the fog of war. You never exactly know what's happening. But in this case in particular, it seems like and this goes to social media and AI. You don't even know if the bombs you're seeing landing on Twitter are real or not. You don't even know if it's not even just Iran claims this, or the United States claims that. You don't even know if the videos and the photographs are real. And sometimes if you look closely, you can tell, but it's getting better and better, or worse and worse, in terms of AI's ability to generate media that looks real, to generate a fake reality. And so I'm really unsettled tonight to a degree that I haven't been in 6 years. We're here in March again, just like we were in March 6 years ago, when similarly people were saying that COVID was going to be nothing, and people were saying that COVID was going to totally reshape the world. And we know who was right that time. I'm inclined to think this time that we are also dealing with something that is going to radically reshape the world. It's hard to know for sure, like I said, but I think that this time we're also going to think back on these first few weeks of what was supposed to be a limited engagement in Iran. I think we will look back on this similarly to the way we look back on those first few months or weeks in 2020. So, with that being said, I will be we'll be taking a quick break. When I get back, we already got some folks calling in, talk about Iran, and I also want to later talk about how we feel as Americans in this time, how we feel in this 250th anniversary that should be a great celebration. And I certainly sense a country that is unsettled, uncertain, unsure of the future, and unsure what's even going on at the moment. So on that downer, we will take a break, and I'll be back and take your phone calls.
This is Joe Cordell of Cordell & Cordell. Cordell & Cordell is the largest family law firm in the country, with over 35 years of helping clients navigate divorce. If you or someone you care about is facing a family law issue, let us set up a 1-hour Cordell Consult. The Cordell Consult is a meeting with a local attorney who will give you clear guidance about your options, whether it's a separation, a postnuptial agreement, divorce, or custody. CordellCordell.com.
Pittsburgh and Cranberry Township. Joseph Cordell. Licensed in Missouri and Illinois only.
Here's the latest from the KDKA Community Message Board.
Join KDKA at the 2026 44th Annual Pittsburgh Home and Garden Show at the David Lawrence Convention Center. Stop in throughout the entire 10-day show to browse hundreds of show exhibitors and shop for thousands of home improvement items, services, and ideas. New to Rivers Casino? Join now and earn up to $1,000 free slot play. Stop by Rush Rewards on your next visit to start earning today. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. Looking for an incredible Pittsburgh fresh-made hoagie? Visit Tim's Corner Market in Beachview. Fresh house-made bread stacked high with the finest meats and premium toppings and packed with Pittsburgh flavor. The hoagie you didn't know you needed at Tim's Corner Market on Broadway Avenue in Beachview.
Details at KDKA-radio.com.
Think back to the last time you were in nature. What comes to mind? Hiking through a lush forest, floating on a lazy river, or perhaps watching a vibrant sunset on a beach full of glistening plastic bottles and food wrappers. Unfortunately, this isn't a joke. Here in the U.S., we generate the most plastic waste in the world, with 70% of it ending up in landfills. And by the time you're done listening to this ad, more than a dump truck's worth of plastic will have made it into the ocean. Plastic has become a useful part of our everyday lives, but it's polluting the air, water, and soil that all life needs to survive. This is a human problem that can be solved with human action. But it's going to take all of us, from individuals to businesses to governments and everyone in between. Help create a cleaner future for both people and nature. Visit wwf.earth/plastics.
Here's a tale of Tina searching up and down for decent GLP-1s, but got spun around.
Tell GoodRx wrote in, hey, we got something new. GLP-1 prescriptions, all FDA approved.
Brand name meds, no flags that are red.
Clear pricing from the start. None of those hidden fees in your cart.
Delivered to your door or pick up same day. Darn tootin'.
Save time and money on prescriptions.
I'll put it to goodrx.com/weight loss. GoodRx is not insurance.
Oh, hello. It's me, the calculator that lives inside of TaxSlayer. I love numbers. Like 100, as in 100%, as in TaxSlayer's 100% accuracy, guaranteed. And 0, as in $0, as in it costs $0 to file and get the refund you deserve with TaxSlayer Simply Free, if you qualify. Simply Free is available to a limited number of taxpayers with age, income, credit, and deduction restrictions. See TaxSlayer.com for eligibility requirements. TaxSlayer. File fearlessly.
The KDKA radio text line is driven by Kenny Ross Auto Group. Find your best deal and Pittsburgh's best warranty at kennyross.com.
The 50,000-watt voice of Pittsburgh. 100.1 FM and AM 1020. KDKA.
Good evening, Pittsburgh. Brandon McGinley back here on KDKA Radio. I'm the editorial page editor at the Post-Gazette, filling in tonight. Started with a kind of dour take on Iran and what's going on in the world. I'm going to bring on Sam from South Park right now to hear what he has to say. Hey, Sam.
I just wanted to start off by saying, in the 20 years that we were in Iraq and Afghanistan, the United States sent 3 million American soldiers out there. Israel sent 0 in 20 years. This is considered to be our number one ally in the region, and in 20 years they sent 0 troops. And then after that, they demand that we pay for this war and a genocide in Palestine. I don't know about you, but this makes absolutely no sense. We are essentially in the middle of World War III, where people in this country can't afford groceries, can't afford a tank of gas. And just in the last week, gas has gone up 50 cents.
Mm-hmm.
And now you're going to tell me that, no, we need to send our soldiers, our brothers, our sisters, our husbands, our wives, our uncles, our aunts, our fathers and mothers. We have to send them to go fight this war in Israel? Hell no. And people on this radio station, Marty, Colin, Mr. Pratt, they're all saying how great John Fetterman is. John Fetterman is voting to send your relatives to go die in Iran. That's what they're doing. They are voting, and they're making sure that all Americans strap on their boots and go straight over there to Iran to die for Israel, because We don't have universal health care. Israel does. Israel also has abortion on demand. I'm told by the right that abortion on demand is the most evil thing on earth. Yet we subsidize them in their army and their military, and in the last 20 years, we've given them over $80 billion.
Yeah, Sam.
It's insane that they want us to send our kids. They want us to send our money. Well, I'm demanding, where's Baron Trump? He should go on to war.
No, I hear you.
This is not a funny thing, because they already sent Americans over there, and 6 of them have already died. So it's not about oh, he's 18, 19. He's 19 years old. He doesn't have issues with bone spurs. He should go to the military. He wants to play a tough guy on TV. His dad wants to play a tough guy on TV. So be a tough guy, not be a little beta, and actually strap on boots, go to war. And stop sending our kids, our parents, our brothers and sisters to go die for Israel, because we're done. No, we should not be voting for anybody. I don't care if your name is John Fetterman. I don't care if your name is Summer Lee. I don't care if your name is Shapiro. If you are accepting Israeli money, or money from pro-Israeli organizations or donors, right? The Ellisons that own CBS. They own Twitter. They own all these companies. You want us to we're not going to be voting for you. We should not be voting for any of these people. These are Israel first and not America first people. And this is coming from a hard left progressive. Sure. I'm not going to be playing this Israel first game. Nobody should be playing this Israel first game that they're playing on us, because they're making it's costing $1 to $2 billion
a day. Yes, no, absolutely. And that's probably a low estimate, Sam. I mean, I'm just going to be honest. That's probably a low estimate, and that does not include the cost of all of the infrastructure, the American infrastructure, including $billion radar installations that have been destroyed and that will take years and years to rebuild if they are ever rebuilt. No, Sam, I hear you, and I tell you right now, you know this as well as I do. I'm sure you know it better than I do, that the polling on America's relationship with Israel has changed dramatically in the past couple years, and especially along generational lines. Especially young people, we'll say, 18 to 34 or so, have a radically different view of America's relationship with Israel and a much more negative view. And Sam, I think I wouldn't necessarily go as far as you do on some of the things you say, but I will tell you right now that I would guarantee you that unless this war turns out to be as perfect and pristine as Donald Trump claims it is, which it will not, this will exacerbate that. This will make especially younger Americans far more wary of our relationship with Israel. Because this part of this is Donald Trump's own fault. He hasn't even articulated a compelling reason why we're there. And on the very first day, he sent out Marco Rubio to say that Netanyahu was going to go, so we had to go. And then they walked that back. But this goes to the confusion. It's one thing to say it's about the media, but a lot of the confusion is coming straight out of the administration. They've said so many different things about why we're there, about the goals. Nobody can have confidence.
I strongly agree with a professor who teaches about this. His name is Professor Jiang. Mm-hmm. I strongly agree with him that we are in the middle of World War III, and at the end of this, that we've already lost. We have already lost this war, and that the more we dig our heels into this, the worse we're going to end at the end of this. And we're gonna end up paying with a lot of blood, with a lot of lives.
Sam,
I don't think that there's enough people saying that this, because if you say something, you're going to sound like an anti-Semite.
Right.
And this is not about Jews. It's not about Christians.
I hear you.
It's about people's lives.
Yep.
This is about people's lives.
Hey Sam, I got a break coming. But let me say that I gotta let you go. But let me just say that the I don't think it's already lost. But Sam's exactly right that the longer this goes, the worse it gets for Israel and America. The higher the cost will be for the world and for everyday Americans, and it'll be the harder it will be to get out.
Aetna was there for me as I was going through a rough medical patch this year. I had peace of mind, which helped with my healing.
Those words from a real Aetna Medicare Advantage member speak to why U.S. News & World Report named us a best Medicare Advantage company. Because we show up on calls with members and doctors' offices when requested. We show up with the latest in online tools for easier access to healthcare. We show up for you. Because that's how healthier happens together. Member feedback has been edited for length and clarity.
You wanted to be cool, which led you to smoking, which led to a pack a day. Then you met that special someone, which led to starting a life with them, which led to wanting to live longer, which led to quitting. Then you heard you may be at risk for lung cancer, which led you to getting a low-dose CT scan. If you smoked, get scanned. Talk to your doctor and learn more at savedbythescan.org. Brought to you by the American Lung Association and the Ad Council.
As veterans, we've dealt with noise. From chains clanking as they're clamped onto cargo, to orders coming down the chain of command. We can handle that kind of noise. Back home, the noise is different. Seems like everyone's talking all at once and over each other because they just want to be heard. They're taking selfies and oversharing. But we know that it's not about hearing. It's about listening. Listening to what's actually happening with our fellow veterans. Understanding each other because we share the same experiences, the same vocabulary, following the same paths that others have walked. If only we can pick up the trail. Make the Connection is a place for veterans to hear stories from other veterans. Listen and learn about why you're not alone at maketheconnection.net.
For generations, you've listened to us in your kitchen, catching baseball games on your front porch, and ending your day as your bedtime buddy. Now, you can watch us every day on your TV with our new KDKA Radio YouTube page or by clicking on KDKARadio.com. It's presented by Metropolitan Windows. Same great content, more live visuals. The voice of Pittsburgh, 100.1 FM and AM 1020. KDKA.
Serving Allegheny County for 50 years and supporting survivors of crime, Center for Victims invites you to its Lighting Candles in the Darkness Gala, Thursday, April 9th. It's an evening honoring hope, healing, and resilience. Visit centerforvictims.org.
From the Aetna Medicare Studios.
Proud to be the voice of Pittsburgh. 100.1 FM and AM 1020 KDKA.
CBS News Brief. A week after the U.S. and Israel attacked Iran to cripple its military, the hits continue. CBS's Matt Gutman with the latest.
U.S. military says it has struck over 3,000 targets and damaged or destroyed 43 Iranian ships, bombing planes on the ground and jet hangars.
Due to the conflict, oil prices have surged over $90 a barrel. President Trump explains.
This is an excursion. We figured oil prices would go up, which they will. They'll also come down. They'll come down very fast, and we will have gotten rid of a major cancer on the face of the earth.
The president was at Dover Air Force Base today for the dignified transfer of 6 U.S. soldiers who were killed in the conflict. CBS's Stacey Lynn.
All were members of the 103rd Sustainment Command, which is based in Des Moines, Iowa. The unit provides food, supplies, and other logistic support to the military.
They died in a drone strike in... I'm Heather Bosch.
Hi, I'm Ryan Blaney, a third-generation race car driver, and we dedicate a lot of our time to going as fast as possible. My grandpa Lou is the reason why my dad and I started racing, and I'm really proud to follow in his tracks. But when my grandpa was diagnosed with Alzheimer's, it was a very unexpected bump in the road for us. I've learned a lot on this journey with my grandpa Lou, and the memories of my grandpa will always be with me. It's important to notice if older family members are acting differently, experiencing problems with their memory, or having trouble with routine tasks. Talking about Alzheimer's can be really tough. But if you notice something, have a conversation with your loved one. Encourage them to see a doctor or offer to go with them. Early detection of Alzheimer's can give your family time to explore support services, make a plan for the future, and access available treatments. The Alzheimer's Association provides care, support, and research to help you take control of the situation with your family and manage the disease together. If you or your family are noticing changes, it could be Alzheimer's. Talk about seeing a doctor together. Visit alz.org/time to talk. A message from the Alzheimer's Association and the Ad Council.
Planning for retirement isn't easy. If you don't know where to start, join Beth Andrews of Net Worth Advisors every Saturday at 1 for the Net Worth Financial Hour. Beth shares helpful tips and strategies that just might change the course of your retirement. Listen every Saturday at 1 to the Net Worth Financial Hour with Beth Andrews of Net Worth Advisors. Net Worth Advisors, LLC, is a registered investment advisor.
You wanted to be cool, which led you to smoking, which led to a pack a day. Then you met that special someone, which led to starting a life with them, which led to wanting to live longer, which led to quitting. Then you heard you may be at risk for lung cancer, which led you to getting a low-dose CT scan. If you smoked, get scanned. Talk to your doctor and learn more at savedbythescan.org. Brought to you by the American Lung Association and the Ad Council.
Think back to the last time you were in nature. What comes to mind? Hiking through a lush forest, floating on a lazy river, or perhaps watching a vibrant sunset on a beach full of glistening plastic bottles and food wrappers. Unfortunately, this isn't a joke. Here in the U.S., we generate the most plastic waste in the world, with 70% of it ending up in landfills. And by the time you're done listening to this ad, more than a dump truck's worth of plastic will have made it into the ocean. Plastic has become a useful part of our everyday lives, but it's polluting the air, water, and soil that all life needs to survive. This is a human problem that can be solved with human action. But it's going to take all of us, from individuals to businesses to governments and everyone in between. Help create a cleaner future for both people and nature. Visit wwf.earth/plastics.
The KDKA AccuWeather forecast is brought to you by JP Roofing and Siding, Pittsburgh's #1 Platinum Preferred Roofing Replacement Contractor. Call 412-829-7711.
Heavy gusty thunderstorms around through early this evening, which may produce localized damage and wind gusts and lingering clouds late, low 48. It turns out partly sunny and cooler tomorrow, high 62. For AccuWeather, I'm meteorologist Ka Erickson, 100.1 FM and AM 1020 KDKA.
All right, hope you're enjoying the weekend. We'll be back at it. Can't wait. Regular show Monday, 2 to 6. Colin Dunlap right here, KDKA.
Welcome back to KDKA. This is Brandon McGinley filling in tonight from the Pittsburgh Post-Gazette. And we started by talking about Iran, and I'd welcome your phone calls on that or any other issues facing the country and Pittsburgh tonight. We're at 866-391-1020. There's a huge difference right now. Oh, and this is part of the thing that's making me so unsettled about the whole situation. There's a huge difference right now between the amount of commentary and the amount that it seems that the American people are engaged with what's going on in Iran, with what's going on in Israel and the rest of the Middle East, and the effects of it. There's a huge gap between the small amount of engagement that at least I see in terms of just people talking about it, in terms of even protests. Like, this is a radically unpopular war. This is extremely uncommon for the U.S. to enter a conflict like this without the government trying to set the stage with the American people in terms of making the case for the war, and to go into the war when it is already in the 30s in terms of approval. So to actually try to take the country into a war that the country doesn't want is extremely unusual. And yet, especially given how quickly we know that protests can pop up, we haven't seen very much. At the very, very, very beginning, there was a little bit in Oakland, but there just seems to be a lot of apathy. Maybe it's waiting and seeing, I don't know. But there's just a huge gap between the apparent apathy of the American people about this and its importance. This past week, like I said at the beginning of the show, will probably be remembered as just as important, just as transformative, just as uncertain, just as frightening as the first week of COVID shutdowns and lockdowns in 2020. The effects of the decisions that we made right now in Washington and in Tehran and in Israel, and for that matter in the other Gulf states, will be with us for a very, very long time. A very, very long time. And I don't get the sense that there's a lot of understanding of that, of just how important this is, and of how long the consequences of it will last. And this is so different from Iraq 20 years ago, almost 25 years ago now, when the Bush administration spent months making the case, and there seemed to be a great, there were two things happened then that are not happening now. One, there was a wave of support for American troops overseas. I remember part of this had to do with just coming out of 9/11, but I remember people were putting up flags. People were throwing back to decades ago, were tying yellow ribbons on their trees. There was a sense of solidarity with the American decision to enter that war, or to begin that war. But there was also a great deal of anxiety and a great deal. There were protests. There were people in the streets. I know we're only a week in, but there's just no sense of buy-in either way. Either a great kind of bubbling up of patriotism. I'm not seeing that. Nor am I seeing a great bubbling up of protester anxiety. I think that people are anxious about it, but it's a lot quieter. And I'll be honest, I'm not sure what to make of it. It makes it all the more unsettling that we just there doesn't seem to be an appreciation in this country of that this could be far bigger than Iraq. This would put Afghanistan. People will talk about all that. I mean, it's absolutely possible. People will talk about all that as a precursor to this. That the decisions that were made after 9/11 to go into Iraq and Afghanistan, and then all the changes that have happened in the Middle East since, that might be remembered. I think there's a very good chance it will be remembered as the undercard, the opening act to what's going on now. Got Michael from Wexford. Welcome to the show, Michael. Michael, are you there? Oh, okay. There we go. Okay.
Hello?
Oh, good. Okay, there we go. Hey, Michael, sorry about that. Yeah, the button, I hit the wrong button, I think. There you go.
No problem. Good evening.
Good evening, Michael.
I'm going to make a brief personal comment about the Iran conflict, but
yep.
I say this with respect. How old are you, sir?
I'm 37.
Yeah, okay. Very good. Then I want to listen to you for 5 minutes. I understand clearly, and I could not disagree with you more.
Sure.
I could not even remotely disagree with you more. I fully support President Trump's decision to join this fight with Israel to stop the threat of a nuclear attack on the United States and other countries. I'm old enough to know when the Iranians took our hostages in maybe 1979, 47 years ago. I believe them when they say they want to kill Americans. And I do think we're safer today than we were last week. And with respect to protests in the streets, I pray that our armed forces are safe, protected, get the job done, and get to go home to their loved ones.
Absolutely.
And this is not going to end up like a 20-year Afghanistan-Iraq war. You mark my words on that.
I hope you're right. I really do hope you're right, Michael. And I think that, the history of the U.S. with Iran, I mean, you can say it goes back 50 years. And I will grant this. I'll tell you, this has been 50 years coming. This is the culmination. This is not something I will say without any hesitation. This didn't come out of the blue. I do think the administration has the obligation to say why now. And I don't think it's effectively done that, but this has absolutely been 50 years coming. And I think that it is fair to say that something like this was probably always going to happen, outside of the regime collapsing on its own. And here I think is where we're getting to the miscalculation on the part of the administration, which is I really do think they thought that the Iranian people would handle this themselves once the bombing started. And I think it's impossible to know what's happening in Tehran with any confidence. But my read is that if anything, the opposite has happened. That the barrage has in fact caused everyday Iranians to kind of cling to their kind of nationalism and cling to the regime as opposed to setting them out into the streets.
It's impossible to know what's happening because the fake news, which has already been busted, will not accurately report the celebration in the streets. Not just
there was celebration. There was celebration, but it was brief. I mean, and I think, I mean, again, it's hard to know, but I know, thinking of an acquaintance of mine who's from Iran, who spent his entire childhood in Iran, who's deeply hostile to this regime, who left because of this regime, who's deeply uncertain for the future of his home country right now, or the country he grew up in, because he does not see the long-term strategy here. And he knows his country well enough to know that while there's a significant, lots and lots of people hated the Ayatollah, but lots and lots of people loved the Ayatollah too. They really did. And I know it can be hard for us to appreciate, but when people are marching through the streets holding up pictures of the Ayatollah, they think of him as a spiritual leader, at least as much as a political leader. And we might say, well, that's crazy, or the man was nuts, or he was evil. He did a lot of evil things, but it's important for us to also get in the heads of our adversaries. And I think America for the last 50 years has struggled to do that with Iran.
Did you get on the radio when Barack Hussein Obama gave 1.7 or released $1.7 billion to Iran, hoping they wouldn't forward their nuclear capabilities? Did you protest that action?
No, I was not in media at the time, so I was, private citizen at the time. But no, I mean, I think, we have to define what are the goals here. What are the goals here? Is it to stop the nuclear program? Absolutely essential goal. But we have to remember that Trump did tell us less than a year ago that he had obliterated the nuclear program, and now we have to start a full-scale war in order to do the same. And so it's I mean, it goes to the question of trust. It goes to the question of, can we know what's happening? And when, I completely agree that we need to figure out a way to make sure that this regime never has nuclear weapons. But the question isn't, should Iran have nukes? The question is, what is the best way to ensure Iran doesn't have nukes? And we could say that the Obama deal was a bad deal. And I don't have a strong opinion either way about the Obama deal. But it is clear that we were negotiating a deal that, in fact, the reporting is that we were negotiating a deal that would have been better than the Obama deal. And then we started throwing missiles at them. And so it leaves us wondering, again, what is the point of this? I agree we need a non-nuclear Iran. The question is how we ensure one.
So what I have heard is 6 months ago, under President Trump's effective leadership, we blew up their nuclear capabilities and then started to negotiate, and that there's evidence that they were reconstituting their ability. Well, that's why the negotiations didn't work. And Trump is not a fool like Obama and Biden. He's not going to put a red line out there, have them cross it, and get insulted. He gave them a warning. They ignored it, and now 47 of them are dead. And I praise that action.
Yeah. No, I mean, I think that action and Michael, I'm gonna have to let you go because I'm up against a break. But I will say that the bombing of the nuclear facilities last year, that was the kind of limited action that if you were concerned about, as I am concerned about, as lots of people are concerned about, escalation in the Middle East, that kind of one and done bombing that was, as far as we know, I think it was, if not tremendously effective, it was definitely very effective, that I do think it set back their nuclear program substantially. That's the kind of one and done thing that did not lead to escalation. What we're doing now is seems almost designed to escalate. And I do not think, I think that the good things that will come out of this are not worth the risk. Got to go to a break.
It's the little things. The information you need. People you know. The little things that make a big difference. The voice of Pittsburgh. 100.1 FM and AM 1020. KDKA.
Okay, class, let's begin.
Psst, love your boots. I just sold a pair like that on eBay.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it took like 2 seconds to list, and they sold almost immediately. I've been selling everything lately. Some chunky boots, a faux fur coat I never wore, and a vintage chair that was more of an expensive clothing rack.
You know, I actually bought these on eBay. Wait, are you Kitty Sell Stuff from Brooklyn?
Okay, quiet, please.
Find what you love. Sell what you don't. eBay. Things people love.
Hey, Joy. Oh, you are glowing.
Oh, hey. More like Mira-joyed. That Miralax helped me go. I was so backed up. Tried mega coffees, prune juice, everything. Then Miralax. And hello, gentle relief without the harsh side effects.
Ooh, how does it work?
It works naturally with the water in your body for constipation relief. Find Miralax today at your local retailer.
Use as directed for occasional constipation.
Here's the latest from the KDKA Community Message Board.
Join KDKA at the 2026 44th Annual Pittsburgh Home and Garden Show at the David Lawrence Convention Center. Stop in throughout the entire 10-day show to browse hundreds of show exhibitors and shop for thousands of home improvement items, services, and ideas. New to Rivers Casino? Join now and earn up to $1,000 free slot play. Stop by Rush Rewards on your next visit to start earning today. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. Looking for an incredible Pittsburgh fresh-made hoagie? Visit Tim's Corner Market in Beachview. Fresh house-made bread stacked high with the finest meats and premium toppings and packed with Pittsburgh flavor. The hoagie you didn't know you needed at Tim's Corner Market on Broadway Avenue in Beachview.
Details at kdkaradio.com.
SchultzFord.com, 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 SchultzFord.com.
Pittsburgh's 100.1 FM and AM 1020. KDKA.
Hey, welcome back, everyone. KDKA Radio here in Pittsburgh. This is Brandon McGinley from the Post-Gazette. Filling in tonight, we're talking Iran. And, before we have another caller, and I'm gonna get there in a second. But I just want to point out about how the question about Iran and the war is not a question of, is the Islamic Republic regime good or bad? It's not a question of whether the regime has been good or bad for the world, or whether we still need to get our licks in after the hostage crisis nearly 50 years ago. It's a question of, is this the right way to achieve those goals? If I thought that this was a way to that what we're doing right now was a way to successfully end their nuclear ambitions, result in a more a better, more secure, less repressive regime. If I thought that that we were taking a course of action that would lead to those results, and where the costs were commensurate with that, or proportionate to that, we'd be having a different conversation. It's not a question about whether we should be dealing with Iran. Eventually, we're going to have to deal with Iran in some way or another. The question is, are we doing it in a way that's actually going to achieve those goals without risking far worse bad effects? Tom from Southside, welcome to the show.
Yeah, the Iranians are not going to forget how to make a nuclear bomb, regardless of how much we bomb them.
Right, absolutely, but it's still it's just a hugely complicated thing, and any kind of setback in the infrastructure of it will certainly. I mean, let me put it this way. I mean, certainly what Americans were told after last year's bombing was that we had obliterated their nuclear program, which I don't think most people believed, but I also think that most people believed rightly, and I believe this is correct, that we did set it back substantially. And so I think then it raises the question: if we set it back substantially, why cut off negotiations now? Now, and that I think is the operative question.
Well, we're going from a war, justified war, to preemptive war, which is suspect, to preventative war, which is completely unlawful.
Right.
We're now complicit with the war criminal Bibi Netanyahu, and we killed 150 schoolgirls. That makes us war criminals now.
So, Tom, I'm glad you mentioned that. This is something.
I'm sorry.
Go ahead. Finish your thought. Sorry.
Oh no. This is not. When the next Osama reaches out and touches us, Iranian Osama reaches out and touches us in the next, sometime next 10 or 15 years, come back and tell me what a genius Trump is.
I'm glad you brought up what happened in southern Iran. And this is something that's also very different from 25 years ago. I think most people look back, and I'm not saying you have to, but I think that most people look back on the Iraq War, even though it was strongly supported at the time by about 70 or so percent of Americans when it got kicked off. I would bet about 70% of Americans now look back on it as kind of a debacle. Now,
I didn't believe it at the time.
Yeah. Here's a point I want to make, is that if something like that had happened 25 years ago in Iraq, it would have been top of the news. The United States would have been tripping over itself to apologize, and it might have resulted in a significant cessation of hostilities, because it would have been so embarrassing, and not embarrassing, it would have been so kind of horrifying that we had messed up so badly with our precision weapons that we dropped one on a school full of children. And this time, barely a ripple. It's mentioned in the New York Times. It's mentioned. It's talked about. New York Times, in fact, did an investigation that showed it was almost certainly an American weapon that did it. Right. And instead, one of the things that has made me really, really feel really bad, frankly, and grim about this war is how all of the old rules don't seem to apply. We just assassinate now, willy-nilly. We drop bombs on schools and don't even apologize. We have the Republicans who don't want to call it a war for constitutional reasons, and they're talking like Vladimir Putin. Special military operation in Ukraine, and now Mike Johnson's using that same language.
We've now justified Putin's war on Ukraine with our conduct. Actually, bear in mind, the Iranians and the Iraqis were enemies, and they balanced each other out. Yeah. They had a balance of power between the two.
And they fought a brutal war. They fought one of the most brutal wars of the 20th century between them.
1980s, and they wiped each other out. And we went in and basically weakened Iraq to the point where now Iran took over that area.
Yeah. Hey, Tom, I got a break coming, so I'm going to have to let you go. But I appreciate the call, and no, it's that is a great example of how it's impossible to predict, or we should do better to predict, what the knock-on effects of these big actions are going to be, and it's impossible to know today just how big the effects of this action will be for decades to come.
The Big K Morning Show with Larry Richards.
President and CEO of Visit Pittsburgh, Mr. Jared Bacher. Countdown to the NFL draft continues.
We're keeping a close eye on how the hotels are picking up for the draft. We've also done a lot of research on all of the other cities, with Green Bay, Detroit, and Kansas City being the most recent hosts for hotel performance.
Weekday mornings 5:30 to 10 on the Voice of Pittsburgh, 100.1 FM and AM 1020, KDKA.
Crowded waiting rooms, 5 rushed minutes with the doctor. No real answers, just solutions that mask symptoms. For so many, that's what healthcare has become. In and out, no time, no connection. Just another appointment on the schedule. At Pittsburgh Sinus Centers, it's different. They take the time to listen, explain, and design a plan built around you. Because real relief starts with understanding what's really going on, not just treating the surface. From allergy testing to in-office sinus and nasal procedures, their experienced team uses the latest technology and a personal touch to help you breathe, sleep, and live better. Here, you're not just another number. You're the reason they do what they do. Discover a better way to feel better, one that's built around you. Pittsburgh Sinus Centers. Schedule a consultation today. Call Pittsburgh Sinus Centers, 878-231-4950. 878-231-4950. That's 878-231-4950.
In the darkest moments, survivors search for even the smallest light. On Thursday, April 9th, be part of something powerful. Join Center for Victims for an evening of hope, courage, and resilience, lighting candles in the darkness. Reserve your seat today. centerforvictims.org.
100.1 FM and AM 1020 KDKA. Covered by JP Roofing and Siding. Pittsburgh's #1 platinum roofing company.
When a warrior faces adversity, he fights through it. He finds a way. Freedom isn't free. Rolling strong. Belief. Believe you can, and you will.
Wheelchairs for Warriors provides mobility solutions to veterans and first responders injured in the line of duty. Join the mission and visit wheelchairsforwarriors.org.
Listen to KDKA Radio on the Odyssey, iHeartRadio, or TuneIn apps.
KDKA and KDKA-FM HD2 Pittsburgh. W261AX Pittsburgh.
Always live on the free Odyssey app. From the Aetna Medicare studios.
Proud to be the voice of Pittsburgh. 100.1 FM and AM 1020 KDKA.
This is CBS News on the Hour, your home for original reporting.
I'm Heather Bosch. Will the U.S. send ground troops into Iran? Reporters asked President Trump that today on Air Force One.
I don't think it's an appropriate question. You know, I'm not going to answer it. Could there be? Possibly, for very good reason. Have to be very good reason. And I would say if we ever did that, they would be so decimated that they wouldn't be able to fight at the ground level.
The stated reason for the U.S.-Israeli attacks on Iran, destroying Iran's military and nuclear ambitions. But CBS's Imtiaz Tayeb says there are broader implications.
Now, leaders in the region are warning of a wider disruption to energy exports that may trigger a major downturn in the global economy. 1 week into this war, the battlefield is still expanding faster than diplomacy. And the question facing leaders across the Gulf and beyond is whether the next phase brings escalation or any meaningful effort to step back from the brink.
Cruise ship passengers stranded in the port of Dubai because of the conflict have landed safely in Italy, including this German traveler.
Of course, we saw the drones and we also saw fire and some smoke in the air. But the crew members, they did everything that we be safe on board and that we feel comfortable.
Former Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem met with some Latin American leaders in Florida today in her new role as special envoy to the Shield of the Americas.
Our objectives are going to be to destroy the cartels, to go after these narco-terrorists that are destroying our people, killing our children and our grandchildren. We're also going to keep our adversaries at bay. those adversaries that wish to change our way of life and our values that are outside of our hemisphere.
President Trump says cartels and transnational gangs threaten the hemisphere's national security. With oil prices surging, airfares have started climbing.
Jet fuel prices are near $4 a gallon, up from $2.50 a gallon the day before the war with Iran started. To compensate, airlines began raising their fares this week, especially for seats in business and first class. Some carriers have also added fuel surcharges to ticket prices on some long-haul international flights.
A service in Chicago today honoring the late civil rights leader Jesse Jackson. His son, Yusef, spoke about his father's ongoing interest in improving the lives of others, even as his own life was nearing an end.
I'm comforted by the morning joy that my father left us. A great name, a great body of work, and the spirit to continue.
He heads the Rainbow Push Coalition that his father founded and says it'll be given new energy to continue doing the work his father envisioned. This is CBS News.
The stars shine brighter on CBS Morning.
This is a slam dunk.
So cute. Gail came in singing for me today.
On CBS Mornings.
Jen, I didn't know you shopped here.
Hey, I'm hunting for something fresh for spring.
Oh, girl, skip them all. Jewelry Television has the best spring looks right now.
JTV, way ahead of you. Just hit up JTV.com yesterday. Scored the cutest clover earrings, 2 tennis bracelets, and this gorgeous pearl ring.
Right now, new customers get $20 off any purchase of $99 or more at JTV.com.
Oh, and gold hoops and this turquoise bracelet.
Just a couple things, huh?
Maybe more than a couple.
Jen, I didn't know you shopped here.
Hey, I'm hunting for something fresh for spring.
Oh, girl, skip them all. Jewelry Television has the best spring looks right now.
JTV, way ahead of you. Just hit up JTV.com yesterday. Scored the cutest clover earrings, 2 tennis bracelets, and this gorgeous pearl ring.
Right now, new customers get $20 off any purchase of $99 or more at JTV.com.
Oh, and gold hoops and this turquoise bracelet.
Just a couple things, huh?
Maybe more than a couple.
Polls indicate vaccine skepticism is rising, and that's extending to how people feel about vaccinating their pets.
Doctors say delaying or declining vaccines for pets can be dangerous for the animals and the humans around them.
We have lots of hesitancy in human vaccines, and what happens in human medicine frequently rolls over to veterinary medicine.
Dr. Ann Howenhouse at the New York Animal Medical Center.
The data suggests that adverse events with vaccination are very tiny, probably less than 1 in 100,000 patients will have a fatal vaccine reaction.
A 2023 study of pet owners found 40% considered vaccines unsafe. Steve Kathan, CBS News.
Among the shots veterinarians consider vital for dogs, rabies, which is fatal, as well as distemper and parvovirus, which are highly contagious and can be deadly for puppies. I'm Heather Bosch, CBS.
The KDKA AccuWeather forecast is brought to you by JP Roofing and Siding, Pittsburgh's #1 Platinum Preferred Roofing Replacement Contractor. Call 412-829-7711.
Today looks even warmer with some showers and a thunderstorm for the afternoon. Any storm may be severe with damaging winds, hail, even a tornado with a high of 76. Showers and storms wind down later tonight with a low of 48, leading to a less warm but sunnier day tomorrow, high 63. Then clouds and sun Monday, high 72. For AccuWeather, I'm LaTroy Thornton, 100.1 FM and AM 1020 KDKA.
The following is an editorial by KDKA Radio Senior Vice President Market Manager Michael Spacciapoli.
Polls consistently show that support for or opposition to U.S. military action against Iran falls primarily along party lines. But good people on all sides of the issue can agree on one thing: support for the Americans in the military and especially those in harm's way. Relatives of several U.S. service members have recently received news their loved ones were killed in an Iranian drone attack. So far, casualties have been limited since the war started last Saturday. At the same time, we can also support veterans who have returned from duty in Vietnam, Afghanistan, and Iraq. Steve Monteleone, a veteran himself, founded the It's About the Warrior Foundation to help struggling veterans with services including medical treatment, pain management, psychiatric care, and outreach activities. And Monteleone pointed out on the Big K Morning Show, combat veterans can be triggered by the war in the Mideast, especially those who saw heavy combat. The families of those serving in Operation Epic Fury and the veterans of previous conflicts need to know they're not alone.
This has been an editorial by KDKA Radio Senior Vice President Market Manager Michael Spacciapoli. To view a transcript, go to kdkaradio.com.
Everything you need, every time you listen. 100.1 FM and AM 1020. KDKA.
Welcome back to KDKA this evening, this Saturday, stormy Saturday evening. My name is Brandon McGinley. I'm the editorial page editor at the Pittsburgh Post-Gazette, filling in this evening. And we started today by talking about Iran, talking about the uncertainty about what is to come next, and the uncertainty about what even the Trump administration's goals and justifications are for this action. I want to kind of broaden the conversation a little bit, and I hope you'll call in also if you have anything to say. Think I'm totally wrong. Think I'm barking up the right tree. 866-391-1020. I was in the store today. I was picking up some stuff on this weirdly spring day, getting some outdoorsy stuff at the hardware store, and in the kind of outdoor decoration section, there was a one of those kind of cheap aluminum. I don't know if it's a sign, like little decoration you can stick in your yard. And it was an eagle with an American flag, and it said 250 years of freedom or 250 years of independence or something like that. And I had forgotten until I saw this kind of cheap little piece of lawn decoration that it's the sesquicentennial. 2026 is the 250th anniversary of the nation's independence, of the signing of the Declaration of Independence. And 50 years ago, in 1976, I, as the previous caller established, was not born then, but I do know that was a huge deal. That even though it was one of the hardest times in recent American history, I mean, the mid to late 70s in terms of stagflation, in terms of the still processing the shocks of Vietnam and Watergate. It was one of the most, I mean, you ended up a few years later with Jimmy Carter's famous Malaysia speech, which, while was made fun of, was not wrong. It was a really grim time. And yet, in 76, for the bicentennial, it was a huge party. It was a massive part of the kind of civic life of this country. It was something that was talked about. It was something that was celebrated. And apparently there's going to be some big party in D.C. and elsewhere. And I know states, including this one, have sesquicentennial committees, especially Pennsylvania, because Philadelphia will be very involved with the Independence Hall and everything like that. And yet there's no bubbling up of patriotic fervor. There's not a lot of positivity in this country right now. Of course, we all know the polling, the very small number of people think the country's going in the right direction. And that doesn't change really depending on who's president. It's just been slowly degrading for decades now at this point. You go into the hardware store, and the only reminder you have of this pretty momentous anniversary, pretty momentous birthday. Very few experiments in government by the people, of the people, for the people have existed this long. We're babies compared to Britain, but Britain hasn't existed in its form for as long as we've existed in this form. Or at least, well, that's a complicated one, but the French certainly haven't existed in this form for as long as they're on their fourth or fifth republic by this point. It's a great thing to celebrate. It's something that should be at the top of mind. It's something that we should feel a surge of pride about. And yet, the best we can muster as spring is approaching and people are thinking about how they're going to decorate their houses, how they're going to celebrate this particular year, you'd barely know what's happening. I forgot until I saw a cheap aluminum piece of lawn decoration at Busy Beaver.
And I wonder, and I'd like to invite callers on this point. I want to ask you, how do you feel about America today? How do you feel about the sesquicentennial? Does it matter to you? Is it just another date on the calendar? Or does it really reflect something important about this country and about your personal relationship with this country? Does it matter? Because right now, and this isn't just because of Iran, it's not because of Donald Trump, it's not because of anything in particular. I'm not feeling like there's a surge of patriotism coming that's going to crest on July 4th. And that there's going to be a kind of celebration of America that I feel like even 50 years ago, during one of the hardest times of the past 100 years in this country, that people put it aside to celebrate America as America. That there was a sense of pride without hesitation or without having to think about it. Now I feel like for most people, and I think some of this may be generational, certainly. I will go as far to say certainly younger folks under 40. And this to some degree cuts across ideological and party lines. There is the kind of trope of the left winger who kind of gets a kick out of saying they don't like America, or kind of performatively talks about how America's bad. And we saw a lot of that during kind of the peak of woke stuff from 2015 or so through last year. It's about a solid decade where that was really in vogue, and we've gone through spasms of that through history, but even the Trump movement involved a lot of, yes, it says make America great again, but that line implies that America wasn't great. It implies that America needed to be made great again. It implied that a really profound criticism of America as it is. And the fact that MAGA still hasn't gone away as an acronym shows that people don't apparently think that it's been solved. And so as we go into the rest of the show, I would love to hear your thoughts. What does America mean to you? What does the sesquicentennial, that is such a hard word to say, what do 250 years mean to you? Does it mean anything at all? Does it mean something? Maybe it means something negative. Maybe thinking back on the last 50 years and thinking back with nostalgia about a time when more Americans were intuitively patriotic, were patriotic without feeling like they had to explain themselves, where it was just assumed. Maybe thinking back on that kind of hurts, because that's not the way it is now. Yes, there's a lot of that kind of intuitive or reflexive patriotism. And we'll see some of that on July 4th of this year. And we'll see some of it bubbling up over the next few months. But right now, and I think the Iran war only ramps this up to 11, I see a lot of ambivalence, a lot of apathy, and a lot of lack of certainty, not just about what the war in Iran is for, but about what America is for. So I'll let that sit with you. Hope to get some calls. I want to talk to you about this because I can't just talk about it myself. I want to hear what you have to say about some of the biggest questions that we're going to be facing during a year that's supposed to be a celebration of America.
When you need to know, depend on the news leader. At home, in your car, or at work. The voice of Pittsburgh. 100.1 FM, AM 1020, and KDKA-radio.com.
This is Joe Cordell of Cordell & Cordell. Cordell & Cordell is the largest family law firm in the country, with over 35 years of helping clients navigate divorce. If you or someone you care about is facing a family law issue, let us set up a 1-hour Cordell Consult. The Cordell Consult is a meeting with a local attorney who will give you clear guidance about your options, whether it's a separation, a postnuptial agreement, divorce, or custody. CordellCordell.com.
Pittsburgh and Cranberry Township. Joseph Cordell, licensed in Missouri and Illinois only.
Here's the tale of Tina, searching up and down for decent GLP-1s, but got spun around.
Tell GoodRx wrote in, hey, we got something new. GLP-1 prescriptions, all FDA approved.
Brand name meds, no flags that are red.
Clear pricing from the start. None of those hidden fees in your cart.
Delivered to your door or pick up same day. Darn tootin'.
Save time and money on prescriptions.
Hotfoot it to goodrx.com/weight loss. GoodRx is not insurance.
Oh, hello. It's me, the calculator that lives inside of TaxSlayer. I love numbers. Like 100, as in 100%, as in TaxSlayer's 100% accuracy, guaranteed. And 0, as in $0, as in it costs $0 to file and get the refund you deserve with TaxSlayer Simply Free, if you qualify. Simply Free is available to a limited number of taxpayers with age, income, credit, and deduction restrictions. See TaxSlayer.com for eligibility requirements. TaxSlayer. File fearlessly.
Hey, folks, you're in luck as my friends at Coit are holding an amazing St. Patrick's Day special to get your home Coit clean this spring. Save 35% off all Coit cleaning services, carpets, rugs, drapes, upholstery, and more. Coit did an amazing job in my home. They'll do the same with yours. Call Coit today and save 35%. 1-800-FOR-COIT. 1-800-FOR-COIT. Get your home cleaned by the best. Coit, Pittsburgh's premier cleaning service since 1972. I love them.
As veterans, we've dealt with noise. From chains clanking as they're clamped onto cargo, to orders coming down the chain of command. We can handle that kind of noise. Back home, the noise is different. Seems like everyone's talking all at once and over each other because they just want to be heard. They're taking selfies and oversharing. But we know that it's not about hearing. It's about listening. Listening to what's actually happening with our fellow veterans. Understanding each other because we share the same experiences, the same vocabulary, following the same paths that others have walked. If only we can pick up the trail. Make the Connection is a place for veterans to hear stories from other veterans. Listen and learn about why you're not alone at maketheconnection.net.
The KDKA radio text line is driven by Kenny Ross Auto Group. Find your best deal and Pittsburgh's best warranty at kennyross.com.
Being diagnosed with leukemia, lymphoma, myeloma, or one of over 100 other types of blood cancer makes people want more time to do the things they love. We are Blood Cancer United. We do the most for more people with blood cancer. Join us at bloodcancerunited.org.
SchultzFord.com, 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 SchultzFord.com.
Listen to KDKA Radio on the Odyssey, iHeartRadio, or TuneIn apps.
Everything you need, every time you listen. 100.1 FM and AM 1020, KDKA.
Alrighty. On this stormy Saturday evening in Pittsburgh, this is Brandon McGinley filling in this evening. I'm from the Pittsburgh Post-Gazette, and we've been talking about Iran. We've been talking about what this war feels like here at home, and also been talking about what it means to be an American here on the 250th birthday of the country is this year. It should be a year-long party. Well, maybe not partying the whole year, but it should be part of what we talk about. It should be part of our lives. And I think very, very few people are even aware that it's happening. When 50 years ago, it had been the bicentennial was a huge part of the life of the country. And I think it raises a lot of questions. But, even when you say a huge part of the life of the country, do we even have a shared life as Americans anymore? Or are we all just, it goes to what we were saying earlier on about how you can, depending on what media you consume, depending on who you follow on social media, or not even following anymore, depending on what the algorithm on Twitter or Facebook or whatever is feeding you, you can live in a totally different reality from your fellow Americans. Your neighbor, who literally, you share a wall with, might, in terms of their view of Iran, in terms of their view of the country, in terms of what they think is real and what they think is false, could be completely different from you. And I don't want to stand up here and harp on social media and AI and all this and how it's tearing us apart, even though it is. But clearly, I think that's, this thing that was supposed to bring us together, this thing that was supposed to allow for connections that weren't there before, our phones, all of that, has done the opposite. It's divided us. The idea of there being, outside of the Super Bowl, the idea of there being anything that basically everybody can say that they participate in as Americans, it's basically gone. You can't even assume people are that a critical mass of people are watching the same things on television, or like I said earlier, even that they have the same are living in the same kind of political and news reality. It makes it difficult, if not impossible, to even have a conversation, to actually, and this ultimately, this gets to, I think one of the reasons that people are hesitant about this 250th birthday. Even though things were hard in 76, I do not think there was as much doom and gloom about the fundamentals of the American experiment. I think very few people in 76, despite Watergate that had just happened a few years ago, despite Vietnam, despite stagflation, despite, to bring it full circle, the fact that in a few years you would end up having the Iran, hostage crisis. Very few people then would have thought that this experiment in governance was doomed to change in some serious or irreparable way, or that it wouldn't exist in its current form in 50 years. I don't think there's been polling on this, but there should be. I wonder how many Americans today think that this country will exist with political institutions that are recognizable in 50 years. Certainly the rhetoric, obviously the rhetoric around Donald Trump has led, people talk about the country losing its democracy. They talk as if certainly the 250th, the sesquicentennial, maybe the last 50-year anniversary we get to celebrate. Will we be having the same conversations in 2076? Are we going to be able to, or are we going to be talking about what was? I don't think that those conversations were even being had 50 years ago. Or if they were fringe. But I think today a lot of people wonder, will there be a tricentennial? And I think one of the very negative signs is that we're having trouble celebrating this one. And we know that whatever Donald Trump puts together is going to have a partisan component, which was not the case 50 years ago. And I think we talk too much about Trump, by the way, with all this. Trump happens to be in power during this, but while I don't think it would be as in your face under a Kamala Harris administration, I do think that there would be a strong sense that the celebrations would have a partisan element. Not necessarily that whatever the president put together would, celebrate one party over the other, but that even participating in the president's big sesquicentennial party would be seen as embracing one side or the other. So if you're participating in Donald Trump's big party, that means you throwing in with MAGA. And if it was Kamala Harris's big sesquicentennial party, then participating in that would be throwing in with the Democrats. I really don't think that was the case 50 years ago. I think that we felt like we could come together as a country and just celebrate America. And yeah, part of that would be talking about the bad things that have happened in this country and the divisions that are necessarily part of a continent spanning republic. But now I do worry that I think that the fact that that we aren't talking about it, that maybe we're even a little bit afraid to talk about it, is a sign in the negative direction that historians will look back on and say, wow. In 76, they celebrated the bicentennial with all the pomp and circumstance. And in 26, they could hardly muster any celebration at all. That is a sign of a country that is lost something of itself, that is lacking self-confidence, and of people who've lost confidence in their country. And I don't say that lightly. I don't say that with a smirk on my face. I don't say that because I want this to happen. I say it out of concern that even as, someone who wasn't born in 76, I can feel the decline in that sense of who we are, in that sense of purpose, the idea that the country has a purpose beyond just making a buck and asserting its dominance in the Middle East. That it's not what it was. I got to go to a break, but after that, I'd like to come back and talk about some local stuff, maybe some more positive things. Talk to you soon.
Make 380 Auction of Murraysville your next stop for all your spring needs. They're gearing up for spring at 380 Auction. The fresh produce is back. 380 Auction has name brand furniture, tools, automotive supplies, pet supplies, lawn and garden, toys, food, and new items arriving daily. 380 Auction is open Tuesday through Saturday, 9 a.m. to 5 p.m., Sunday noon to 5 through March. Call 724-339-3132 or log on to shop380.com and save.
Y108 presents Odyssey, The Night Before, powered by Bowser Chevrolet, starring Jason Aldean.
Hey, what's up, Pittsburgh? I'm Jason Aldean.
With special guests John Morgan and Shane Prophet. Wednesday, April 22nd, inside the Event Center at Rivers Casino, Pittsburgh.
Y'all say we have a little bit of fun. Y'all ready?
You can't buy a ticket to this show. You can only win your way in. Full details at y108.com. Presented by Miller Lite and brought to you by Giant Eagle, Pool City, True Green, and Broken Bow Records.
As veterans, we've dealt with noise. From chains clanking as they're clamped onto cargo, to orders coming down the chain of command. We can handle that kind of noise. Back home, the noise is different. Seems like everyone's talking all at once and over each other because they just want to be heard. They're taking selfies and oversharing. But we know that it's not about hearing. It's about listening. Listening to what's actually happening with our fellow veterans. Understanding each other because we share the same experiences, the same vocabulary, following the same paths that others have walked. If only we can pick up the trail. Make the Connection is a place for veterans to hear stories from other veterans. Listen and learn about why you're not alone at maketheconnection.net.
When a warrior faces adversity, he fights through it. He finds a way. Freedom isn't free. Rolling strong. Belief. Believe you can, and you will.
Wheelchairs for Warriors provides mobility solutions to veterans and first responders injured in the line of duty. Join the mission and visit wheelchairsforwarriors.org.
From the Aetna Medicare Studios.
Proud to be the voice of Pittsburgh. 100.1 FM and AM 1020 KDKA.
CBS News Brief. President Trump says he and his aides believe Iran is responsible for the deadly bombing of an Iranian school, telling reporters on Air Force One.
We think it was done by Iran. Because they're very inaccurate, as you know, with their munitions. They have no accuracy whatsoever. It was done by Iran.
Cruise ship passengers stranded in the port of Dubai because of the widening conflict have landed safely in Italy.
From our side, it was a strange situation, but we feel safe and it doesn't feel so dangerous.
Former Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem met with Latin American leaders today in her new role as special envoy to the Shield of the Americas.
Now that America is secure and our borders are secure, that we want to focus on our neighbors and to help our neighbors with their borders and challenges that they have so that they may have the security that we enjoy.
She says they'll fight drug cartels. CBS News Brief, I'm Heather Bosch.
Here's the latest from the KDKA Community Message Board.
Join KDKA at the 2026 44th Annual Pittsburgh Home and Garden Show at the David Lawrence Convention Center. Stop in throughout the entire 10-day show to browse hundreds of show exhibitors and shop for thousands of home improvement items, services, and ideas. New to Rivers Casino? Join now and earn up to $1,000 free slot play. Stop by Rush Rewards on your next visit to start earning today. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. Looking for an incredible Pittsburgh fresh-made hoagie? Visit Tim's Corner Market in Beachview. Fresh house-made bread stacked high with the finest meats and premium toppings and packed with Pittsburgh flavor. The hoagie you didn't know you needed at Tim's Corner Market on Broadway Avenue in Beachview.
Details at KDKARadio.com.
Just hearing the word IRS can make people break out in a cold sweat. No one wants to deal with the IRS, and now you don't have to. The good news is Legal Tax Defense has been successfully negotiating with the IRS for more than 15 years. It doesn't matter how much you owe, whether it's $5,000 or $5 million. You deserve the best in the business on your side, and that is Legal Tax Defense. Even if you're working with someone else and just want a second opinion, there is no cost or obligation to call. They can prevent levies, liens, wage garnishments, even file back tax returns. And the best news about Legal Tax Defense is they won't take your case unless they know they will reduce or eliminate your tax debt. Call Legal Tax Defense right now for a free no-risk consultation. 800-284-1238. 800-284-1238. You have nothing to lose but everything to gain. 800-284-1238.
When a warrior faces adversity, he fights through it. He finds a way. Freedom isn't free. Rolling strong. Belief. Believe you can, and you will.
Wheelchairs for Warriors provides mobility solutions to veterans and first responders injured in the line of duty. Join the mission and visit wheelchairsforwarriors.org.
Shopping with your parents can be embarrassing.
Why would they sell jeans with holes in them? I'm going to speak to the manager.
Mom!
That hoodie is giving. You should get it. YOLO.
Thanks to the Chase mobile app, your kid can shop independently while you keep an eye on their spending. So you can go from,
we can be twinsies,
to,
how was shopping? Saw you stayed on budget.
Thanks, Mom. Freedom for kids, control for parents. That's family banking from Chase.
Account subject to approval. Chase mobile app is available for select mobile devices. Message and data rates may apply. JP Morgan Chase Bank N.A. member FDIC.
The KDKA AccuWeather forecast is brought to you by JP Roofing and Siding, Pittsburgh's #1 Platinum Preferred Roofing Replacement Contractor. Call 412-829-7711.
Heavy gusty thunderstorms around through early this evening, which may produce localized damage in wind gusts and lingering clouds late, low 48. It turns out partly sunny and cooler tomorrow, high 62. For AccuWeather, I'm meteorologist Ka Erickson, 100.1 FM and AM 1020 KDKA.
All right, hope you're enjoying the weekend. We'll be back at it. Can't wait. Regular show Monday, 2 to 6. Colin Dunlap right here, KDKA.
Alrighty. Welcome back to KDKA Radio this evening, Pittsburgh. This is Brandon McGinley filling in tonight from the Pittsburgh Post-Gazette. We've been talking Iran. We've been talking about patriotism in the sesquicentennial of America's founding. And I'm going to go back to talking about Iran for a little bit. We've got Brian from Munhall here who has something to say. Hey, Brian.
Hi, Brandon. Oh, you're the new kid on the block.
I know. Yeah. Yeah.
Hey, I'm not going to sound like an expert, but I read some reliable sources about the Iran situation. I think we had to do that. In fact, the reasons are way beyond Iran threatening us with missiles or a nuclear bomb. Because you know what, Brandon, the world, you know what, I'm going to use a dumb analogy.
Sure.
We're like the third pebble from the sun, and the sun is a hydrogen bomb,
Right.
okay? But that's how we get our energy.
Mm-hmm.
But what a lot of people don't realize, China has gained such an influence all over the world, not just, not in their own neighborhood. They really tried. Now, they did financial investments at both ends of the Panama Canal.
Yep.
And those cranes like a gantry train that load, unload ships, most of those are built by China now.
Yep. Their tentacles are everywhere. I completely agree.
But you know what? Here's the difference. A lot of people think before China became communist, they were in turmoil because they were trying to figure out what kind of government they wanted to be.
Mm-hmm.
There's a movie called The Sand Pebbles, and it's Steve McQueen's in it.
Okay.
China never figured out, did we want like Chiang Kai-shek or did we want the communists? And finally, but you know what, though? The thing about that, a lot of people, maybe a lot of Americans don't think about this. Every time a country, if it goes through socialism and then it becomes communist, millions end up dying.
Yeah. Oh, I mean, that's the story of. I mean, Mao Zedong was probably responsible for more deaths than any other leader in the 20th century, with the possible exception of Stalin. Hitler, I think, rates third.
You're right.
Yeah.
Hey, here's what I would think of. Now, I don't like to see people. The Chinese are. I'm glad. Well, they might have done it on their own, but I don't think so. We aided them, not we did it because our corporations found cheap labor.
Yeah. I mean, the rise of China is at least as much a story of American complacency and American businesses making a buck. I mean, there's no question about it. And when we talk about Chinese communism, as you know, I mean, the most salient communist thing about China is its state atheism. Like that's still very. But in terms of the actual functioning of the economy, it functions very differently from, like, Joseph Stalin would not recognize this at all as communism. It's a kind of like, they often call it state capitalism, but you're right that it still has a lot of those communist roots still part of the state ideology.
You're right. You know what? You see those, when they put the trailers, bodies on trains, railroad cars?
Yeah.
That company called, it's not Costco, the discount.
Yeah, I know what you mean. COSCO. Yep, I see.
Well, that's a Chinese company.
Yep.
So, but anyway, look, it was my little 2 cents worth.
I appreciate it.
Thank you for taking the call.
Thank you, Brian.
Okay, Brandon, bye now.
Bye-bye. And so I think the Chinese question is interesting, and I think it's something that I have seen articulated, that this is a part of a huge geopolitical play to counter China. I think that's plausible. I think it is plausible that a successful outcome to this war would potentially, if not checkmate China, certainly check China. A world in which the United States has a puppet regime, or at least a friendly regime in Tehran, is a world in which the U.S. has control over, or at least influence over, the Strait of Hormuz, which is what we've been talking about, which is what the geography that everybody's been learning over the past week. That would give the United States massive control over global trade, even more than we have now. Specifically, some of the most important aspects of global trade, oil, and something that's not talked about as much, fertilizer. About a third of the world's fertilizer comes out of the Persian Gulf, and so this is going to be another potential effect of what's happening right now. Is as long as the strait is closed, the world is going to be without a significant amount of the fertilizer it needs going into the growing season, which could have massive effects for global food supply. Place that to one side. The point I'm making is that if it were to work out, if we were to get a friendly American regime in Iran, that would be a huge chip against China. It would put China in a very, very difficult situation politically and economically, because China relies a lot more on the goods, especially oil, that comes out of Iran than we do. This is another reason why the Venezuela thing, which is an interesting comparison, by the way, how we more or less, Trump seems to have sorted out Venezuela with one very surgical movement. And I do think that he maybe learned the wrong lesson for Venezuela, which is that if you decapitate the country, then it will fall into your hands. This has obviously not happened with Iran, and I do think there might have been some hubris coming out of the Venezuela situation. But here's my concern with the China point. If everything turns out great for the U.S. and Iran, this could be remembered as if not the masterstroke in checking China geopolitically. At the same time, if it doesn't work out, and this is why this is so high stakes, so risky. If it doesn't pan out, it will have the opposite effect. If we are bogged down in Iran for weeks or months or longer, seeking a solution that may not be available, if the Gulf states no longer see the United States as a reliable partner because we kicked off a war that could cripple their economy and cripple their domestic infrastructure, drones, missiles flying everywhere. The whole point of Dubai, and Qatar and Bahrain and these places is to present themselves as a kind of like, a Monaco on the Persian Gulf where rich people can be safe and you can go and travel. And that is, if it's not obliterated, but a massive kind of hit to their credibility as safe, economic, and physical places to be. If this doesn't pan out and Iran remains substantially the same afterward, if this continues, then a lot of these countries will be looking to China as a safer partner. A lot of these countries, Iran will cleave even closer to China. And our ability to project power, economic power, even military power, will be substantially limited. And so, no, I think China is a huge part of this, but I don't necessarily think it argues in favor of going in, at least going in the way we've gone in. I do think there was a miscalculation. I think clearly this administration, and I think the Israeli government as well, I think Netanyahu as well, thought that destroying the leadership would result in a power vacuum, would result in either the people attempting to install a new leader or a kind of Syrian-style civil war, either of which would be fine for the Israelis because it would ensure that it wasn't the mullahs in charge anymore. Whether that'd be good for everybody else is a completely different question. But no, I don't think necessarily that this turns out in a way that is in our favor with regard to China. And let me leave you before we hear from a few sponsors. Let me leave you with this thought. As the U.S. is clearly using a lot of its munitions that are designed to shoot down missiles, we know that we don't make very many of them. We don't have the ability to make very many of them, and we're using a lot of them. And we're potentially bogged down in the Persian Gulf, maybe, hopefully for weeks, maybe months, maybe longer. Will there be a better chance in a generation for China to make a dash for Taiwan? That's another part of this whole situation that makes me very nervous and feel pretty concerned, if not frightened, about the coming weeks and months.
When the weather turns bad, turn to us for the best news, weather, and traffic information from the KDKA Radio Storm Center. Presented by Duquesne Light Company, larger than light, and brought to you by Butler Transit Authority. Online and on the Voice of Pittsburgh, 100.1 FM and AM 1020, KDKA.
Now that I'm retired, I'm worried about making ends meet. Food, medicine, and rent cost more every day. And that's why I used benefitscheckup.org. It connected me to an extra $1,000 a month. Benefitscheckup.org is a free service from the National Council on Aging. In a few clicks, older adults like me can see if they might qualify for money-saving programs. If you're on a fixed income, benefitscheckup.org might help you too. For free, visit today.
Supported by the U.S. Administration for Community Living.
50 years of A-10 basketball, and now the championship returns to its roots. Pittsburgh, the Steel City, built on toughness, fueled by grit. The 11th of March through 15th at PPG Paints Arena. The energy is rising, the stakes are massive, and every moment is up for grabs. This is the A-10 Men's Basketball Championship. Pittsburgh, we're coming home.
Hi, I'm Ryan Blaney, a third-generation race car driver, and we dedicate a lot of our time to going as fast as possible. My grandpa Lou is the reason why my dad and I started racing, and I'm really proud to follow in his tracks. But when my grandpa was diagnosed with Alzheimer's, it was a very unexpected bump in the road for us. I've learned a lot on this journey with my grandpa Lou, and the memories of my grandpa will always be with me. It's important to notice if older family members are acting differently, experiencing problems with their memory, or having trouble with routine tasks. Talking about Alzheimer's can be really tough. But if you notice something, have a conversation with your loved one. Encourage them to see a doctor or offer to go with them. Early detection of Alzheimer's can give your family time to explore support services, make a plan for the future, and access available treatments. The Alzheimer's Association provides care, support, and research to help you take control of the situation with your family and manage the disease together. If you or your family are noticing changes, it could be Alzheimer's. Talk about seeing a doctor together. Visit alz.org/time to talk. A message from the Alzheimer's Association and the Ad Council.
This is the story of the one. As a procurement manager for a hospital system, she keeps every facility in her network stocked and ready. That's why she counts on Grainger to be her single source for thousands of products, from disinfectants to lighting, air filters, and more. And with fast, dependable delivery, Grainger helps her keep every facility stocked, safe, and running smoothly. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Another app for inventory, one for CRM. Oh, don't forget accounting. Wait, which login was that?
Or you could use Odoo, one fully integrated system that does it all without the hassle. Ditch the app overload. Get everything your business needs on one platform. Try Odoo free today at odoo.com. That's ODOO.com.
You wanted to be cool, which led you to smoking, which led to a pack a day. Then you met that special someone, which led to starting a life with them, which led to wanting to live longer, which led to quitting. Then you heard you may be at risk for lung cancer, which led you to getting a low-dose CT scan. If you smoked, get scanned. Talk to your doctor and learn more at savedbythescan.org. Brought to you by the American Lung Association and the Ad Council.
SchultzFord.com, 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 SchultzFord.com.
The voice of Pittsburgh. 100.1 FM and AM 1020. KDKA.
Welcome back, Pittsburgh. We're talking Iran tonight. Typically, I'd prefer to talk about local things. I'd prefer to talk about things closer to home. But we are here at the end of maybe the most consequential week in global affairs since COVID, maybe even longer. And so we're talking about the world. and you know, that's you know, the question is going to become, how long can the U.S. keep up what it's doing over there? How long can, ultimately, my fear is that time will be on the side, actually, of Iran, even though Iran is so much weaker than the United States. So much, you know, has so many fewer resources. We've literally blown their navy out of the water. But the longer this goes on, the longer that the global trade is kind of being cut off, the more the cost will rise, and the harder it will be to extricate ourselves. And this is the thing that I think is a lesson that should have been learned. That should have been learned from Iraq, should have been learned from Vietnam, that it never starts the way it ends. And the idea of a kind of limited engagement, unless you are absolutely willing to say, we're done now, we've achieved a goal. Maybe it's not the total goal we want to achieve, but we have to be able to say, we're done, we're walking away. And if Trump is unwilling to do that, and I'm hopeful that he will be able to do that, because the fact of the matter is that whatever you think about the past week, the U.S. has definitely achieved some significant gains. The ability of Iran to project power has clearly been lessened. We see that in the smaller number of missiles and drones that are being fired at their neighbors. And that just that alone, and presumably some further degradation of their longer term plans on nuclear weapons, all of that could be is a victory that could be claimed. The problem is that the goals keep shifting. The goalposts keep shifting. Is it just about degrading them militarily so that they can't menace their neighbors as much? I think that's a fine goal, and I think it's largely been achieved. But now we're talking about now Trump is talking about unconditional surrender, which is, impossible to achieve without American troops marching through the heart of Tehran. Or we're talking about installing an American puppet in Tehran. These may or may not be legitimate goals, but if that is the goal, then there is absolutely no way this is going to be a limited war. It is going to last a lot longer. And unless the U.S. can figure out a way to stop the economic pain that Iran can cause during the conflict, then the costs are only going to rise, and the pressure is going to build to back away. Or the pressure is going to build to escalate in order to achieve some bigger goal, or at least to save face. And that is where I think we are looking at a potential crisis. Typically, these kind of engagements involve the intentional creation of off-ramps. So there will be a kind of pause where you can engage in some negotiations and say, here's an out. Here's a way you want this doesn't jive with the Pete Hegseth, chest thumping, machismo understanding of war. But anybody who actually understands war will tell you, you want to give your enemy an out so that they can disengage and you can achieve your goals without getting bogged down too deep. All of the potential off-ramps at this point have been blocked, leaving only the course of escalation. And that is what really concerns me. Whether it's the U.S. and Israel just in the past few hours bombing oil refineries in Iran, which is likely to encourage Iran to do the same, whether it is the rhetoric of unconditional surrender. Now there's talk of boots on the ground. I mean, let's just be real about something. We're talking about boots on the ground, okay? I think that when people think, oh, well, we've bombed their military to oblivion, we can just waltz in there. Iran is 4 times bigger than Iraq. Its terrain is massively, massively more inhospitable than Iraq. Iraq is in everyone in Iraq, almost everyone in Iraq lives in the river valleys between the Tigris and the Euphrates, Mesopotamia, ancient history classes. Flat, you can just right through the desert. Iran, mountains everywhere. I mean, it is a formidable and forbidding landscape. Boots on the ground are likely to mean maybe something like putting boots on the ground in some islands in the Persian Gulf that are extremely, extremely well defended. And it's unclear what the end game of that even would be. So yes, I am very concerned that even as there have been great successes, and I don't want to downplay those in the first week of the war, blowing things up is part of winning, but it's not winning in itself. And as long as there seems to be this kind of, machismo that is coming out of the Department of Defense, as opposed to a sober reflection on what is actually needed to win, then I'm concerned that we're just going to keep blowing things up with no particular plan in mind. When we come back, I'm going to shift gears. We're going to talk about some local stuff, and I'll see you then.
The Big K Morning Show with Larry Richards.
President and CEO of Visit Pittsburgh, Mr. Jared Bacher. Countdown to the NFL draft continues.
We're keeping a close eye on how the hotels are picking up for the draft. We've also done a lot of research on all of the other cities, with Green Bay, Detroit, and Kansas City being the most recent hosts for hotel performance.
Weekday mornings 5:30 to 10 on the Voice of Pittsburgh, 100.1 FM and AM 1020. KDKA.
The Village at St. Barnabas, the perfect place for mom.
Here's a tale of Tina searching up and down for decent GLP-1s, but got spun around.
Tell Good RX Road and hey, we got something new. GLP-1 prescriptions, all FDA approved.
Brand name meds, no flags that are red.
Clear pricing from the start. None of those hidden fees in your cart.
Delivered to your door or pick up same day. Darn tootin'.
Save time and money on prescriptions.
I'd put it to goodrx.com/weight loss. GoodRx is not insurance.
Oh, hello. It's me, the calculator that lives inside of TaxSlayer. I love numbers. Like 100, as in 100%, as in TaxSlayer's 100% accuracy, guaranteed. And 0, as in $0, as in it costs $0 to file and get the refund you deserve with TaxSlayer Simply Free, if you qualify. Simply Free is available to a limited number of taxpayers with age, income, credit, and deduction restrictions. See TaxSlayer.com for eligibility requirements. TaxSlayer. File fearlessly.
When a warrior faces adversity, he fights through it. He finds a way. Freedom isn't free. Rolling strong. Belief. Believe you can, and you will.
Wheelchairs for Warriors provides mobility solutions to veterans and first responders injured in the line of duty. Join the mission and visit wheelchairsforwarriors.org.
Being diagnosed with leukemia, lymphoma, myeloma, or one of over 100 other types of blood cancer makes people want more time to do the things they love. We are Blood Cancer United. We do the most for more people with blood cancer. Join us at bloodcancerunited.org.
News, weather, traffic, and business every day. Hear it on News Radio KDKA. Listen to KDKA Radio on the Odyssey, iHeartRadio, or TuneIn apps.
KDKA and KDKA-FM HD2 Pittsburgh. W261AX Pittsburgh.
Always live on the free Odyssey app. From the Aetna Medicare studios.
Proud to be the voice of Pittsburgh. 100.1 FM and AM 1020 KDKA.
This is CBS News on the Hour, your home for original reporting.
I'm Heather Bosch. Iran says the country's Islamic Revolutionary Guard has started a new wave of missile and drone attacks, but President Trump says the U.S. and Israel clearly have the upper hand as they aim to take out Iran's military and nuclear program.
I think we've accomplished more in 1 week than anyone thought possible. We've wiped out their Navy 44 ships. We've wiped out their Air Force, every plane. We've We've wiped out most of their missiles. You see, the missiles aren't coming much anymore. We've also hit their manufacturing.
The president today attended the dignified transfer of the 6 U.S. soldiers killed in the Middle East. He joined mourning families at Delaware's Dover Air Force Base as the soldiers' remains returned to the U.S. Israel is targeting the Iranian-backed group Hezbollah in Lebanon, where the BBC's Lena Sinjab reports.
Hundreds of thousands are displaced. The Norwegian Refugee Council estimated at least 300,000 are displaced, probably more, because some of them reached shelters that were established by the government or by international NGOs, but many are stranded in the streets. Many don't have anywhere to go to.
Ukraine says a Russian missile strike on a 5-story residential building in Kharkiv has killed at least 10 people. Ukraine's president condemning today's attack and calling for an international response. President Trump introduces a new plan for targeting cartels in Latin America.
This historic day, we come together to announce a brand new military coalition.
The Shield of the Americas Summit is aimed at boosting U.S. influence in the Western Hemisphere
to eradicate the criminal cartels plaguing our region.
Secretary of State Rubio with a message for the 12 leaders represented.
We want the world to see that when you are a friend and an ally of the United States, it is a good thing. It's reciprocated.
Defense Secretary Hegseth said with our shared assets, intelligence, and capabilities,
we will go on offense against the cartels.
Stacey Lynn, CBS News, Washington.
Many of you will lose an hour of sleep tonight.
It's that time of year again. Of course, we mean daylight saving time. Most of the nation springs forward, but experts warn that losing an hour of sleep might not only make you tired and cranky, it could affect your health. Darker mornings and more light at night makes a mess of your body clock, which could disrupt your sleep for weeks. Some studies have found an increase in heart attacks and strokes. You might try getting a little more sunshine to help. Allison Keyes, CBS News.
19 states have adopted laws calling to make daylight saving time permanent, but Congress has to approve first. This is CBS News.
Join Adriana Diaz and Kelly O'Grady for the perfect start to your weekend. Ease into your Saturday with CBS Saturday Morning on CBS and streaming on Paramount+.
Jen, I didn't know you shopped here.
Hey, I'm hunting for something fresh for spring.
Oh, girl, skip them all. Jewelry Television has the best spring looks right now.
JTV, way ahead of you. Just hit up JTV.com yesterday. Scored the cutest clover earrings, 2 tennis bracelets, and this gorgeous pearl ring.
Right now, new customers get $20 off any purchase of $99 or more at JTV.com.
Oh, and gold hoops and this turquoise bracelet.
Just a couple things, huh?
Maybe more than a couple.
Jen, I didn't know you shopped here.
Hey, I'm hunting for something fresh for spring.
Oh, girl, skip them all. Jewelry Television has the best spring looks right now.
JTV, way ahead of you. Just hit up JTV.com yesterday. Scored the cutest clover earrings, 2 tennis bracelets, and this gorgeous pearl ring.
Right now, new customers get $20 off any purchase of $99 or more at JTV.com.
Oh, and gold hoops and this turquoise bracelet.
Just a couple things, huh?
Maybe more than a couple.
The Academy Awards are a week from tomorrow, and many of the nominated actresses come from humble beginnings. CBS's Deborah Rodriguez explains.
For Begonia star Emma Stone, the road to the Oscars began 20 years ago when she was a contestant on VH1's In Search of the Partridge Family. At the age of 15,
Mom's always taking in strays.
In 2017, one battle after another's Tiana Taylor documented her plans for a major rager on MTV's Super Sweet 16. 18-year-old Jessie Buckley, Oscar favorite for Hamnet, showed off her pipes on a British singing competition.
The night is bitter.
Deborah Rodriguez, CBS News.
The animated film Hoppers is bouncing to a $40 million opening weekend in the U.S. and Canada, according to Deadline, which says that's the best for Pixar since the film Coco. I'm
Jen.
The KDKA AccuWeather forecast is brought to you by JP Roofing and Siding, Pittsburgh's #1 Platinum Preferred roofing replacement contractor. Call 412-829-7711.
Today looks even warmer with some showers and a thunderstorm for the afternoon. Any storm may be severe with damaging winds, hail, even a tornado with a high of 76. Showers and storms wind down later tonight with a low of 48, leading to a less warm but sunnier day tomorrow, high 63. Then clouds and sun Monday, high 72. For AccuWeather, I'm LaTroy Thornton, 100.1 FM and AM 1020 KDKA.
The 50,000-watt voice of Pittsburgh. 100.1 FM and AM 1020. KDKA.
Alrighty. Hey, welcome back on this stormy night in Pittsburgh. We're going to take a break from talking about all the mess overseas and all that. I want to bring the camera a little closer to home. And specifically, a small thing, but I think it has big implications for the city of Pittsburgh, and specifically where new Mayor Corey O'Connor is taking it. If you've spent any time downtown or near the Golden Triangle in recent days or in recent years even, you'll have noticed that, first of all, the Strip District is booming, that the investment that has gone into the Strip has worked, that there's just a ton of activity, and, the Strip has always had a lot of activity, especially on Saturdays down at PenMac, but it has, activity throughout the day, throughout the week now, and is increasingly, it is the fastest growing part of the city in terms of residences, in addition to offices and so on. But in between the Strip in downtown is a kind of no man's land. And some of this has to do with the way the convention center is built. Some of this has to do with things that really can't be changed about the geography. But one of the big things is the railroad. So if you've been down there, you know that this is where the huge Norfolk Southern tracks, you can tell I'm a railroad nerd because I know it's Norfolk Southern, cross over 10th Street, and it's 10th, it's 11th, and go toward the bridge that crosses the Allegheny. These are some of the ugliest pieces of infrastructure in the city. This gateway between the fastest growing part of Pittsburgh in the Strip and some of the coolest parts of downtown, especially Penn Avenue, where you got the restaurants and the outdoor seating, is extremely, extremely ugly, very Rust Belt. And not in a charming way, not in the exposed brick in your Lawrenceville, row house Rust Belt. Ugly, aged, it looks like nobody cares. And the mayor, Corey O'Connor, announced this week that those railroad bridges are going to be getting a fresh set of paint, cover up all the rust, and make it look like we care. And it sounds like a small thing, but that kind of attention to detail is what the city has been missing for a while now. I would say, certainly under Ed Gainey, and I think there was a strong sense of attention to detail under Bill Peduto, but I think especially as things dropped off in 2020 with COVID and then the kind of George Floyd protests, the city got off track in terms of its focus on quality of life, its focus on these seemingly small things that make Pittsburgh look like a serious place, a place where its leaders take care of the appearance of the place. It's like you clean up your house whenever someone comes over, okay? And Pittsburgh has not really been doing that. There's something to be said for what, kind of scruffy hospitality, where you leave a little bit, where it's not, your house doesn't have to look like a museum when people come over. But Pittsburgh has gone well beyond that. Pittsburgh has at times seemed almost intentionally unwelcoming to newcomers. Especially when this should be, and this is a point that I have made in the newspaper. Excuse me. I've made in the newspaper time and time again, and that I'm going to make here right now. This is, in terms of geography, the coolest city in America, with the possible exception of San Francisco. It's the only one that can even come close to Pittsburgh in terms of its geography, in terms of the beauty of the terrain, in terms of the opportunities to take advantage of that terrain, to take advantage of the rivers, the hillsides, to create a beautiful city. in a beautiful landscape. And we've done that in many respects. You know, obviously Mount Washington, I think we could do more with Mount Washington, but Mount Washington has, has our overlooks and everything. But I think we have at times almost too much embraced the Rust Belt stuff and left it too scruffy. When you have things like, we need, it's impossible to imagine that railroad bridge not going through the middle of downtown. Ideally, it wouldn't, but we're stuck with it. Make it look nice. Make it look like we care. Make it look like this is the kind of place that's trying to improve itself. And I think sometimes people will be like, well, who cares what it looks like? That's not substantive. We need, lower taxes. And we do need lower taxes, but that's a whole other thing. Making a city a beautiful place, a place that human beings want to be, is essential to making it a thriving city. And this is something that, Corey O'Connor's team said in week 1 when they went downtown, said details matter. Okay, details matter. Little things like broken sidewalks downtown, like graffiti on the sides of buildings that haven't had tenants in a long time. These things build up. They build up in the same way. And here's a comparison for all your parents out there. They build up in the way that a kid who's not taking care of his room builds up. Okay, at first it's just a few Legos, and then you step on them and you say a bad word, but you're like, it's just a few Legos. It's all right. A week later, it's going to be 50,000 Legos, and it's going to be toy soldiers, and it's going to be books, and it's going to be, and because that the little bit of, we're going to let that go, it's not a big deal, it builds up. You have to keep up with it. A city is like an enormous child's room. And the unfortunate fact of the matter is that the average person is not going to keep it up on his or her own. You need leadership. You need people who care and who are willing to put in the work to say, this isn't good enough. This can be fixed. This can be made better. This can be made attractive. We can make the city a place not just where you have to be. We can make downtown in particular a place not just where you have to be, but where you want to be. And especially when you have such a booming area like the Strip District, and then as you're approaching downtown, it just all of a sudden becomes almost scary in terms of the how dark that corridor is, and it creates this visual wall between two parts of the city that should be building off each other instead of being cut off from each other. So I think this is great. I love And the city needs more than this, but I'll tell you, in my conversations with the mayor, we talked to him before he was inaugurated, had a long conversation with him when he was mayor-elect. By we, I mean the editorial board at the Post-Gazette, where I work. And we were talking about this kind of thing, and the first thing he said was, when we talked about how we could improve the life of the city, was getting into the details and things like overgrown backstops at parks. Okay, this is another great example. Especially for kids. If you want kids to grow up in this town and want to stay here, stay in the city, you need to provide them with the kind of amenities that make it look like we care about kids. And when you have overgrown baseball fields and small things. This is why we have a Department of Public Works. Now, the city's has all kinds of financial difficulties, but it can do this. It can take its parks. It can take, and the railroad thing required a deal with Norfolk Southern. Railroad stuff is always really complicated. But smaller things like weeding or cutting the invasive, shrubs that are taking over, bleachers at our kids' baseball fields. This is the kind of thing that makes people feel comfortable living in the city and using the city's amenities, because the city appears to actually care about them. Pittsburgh is never going to have the kind of parks and amenities that Mount Lebanon or Fox Chapel or Upper St. Clair have, but it can have ones that are that are well kept. And I think that I do think this is something that the new mayor gets. And while I think he could maybe use more in terms of grand strategy for the city, getting this right is the foundation to getting everything else right. We'll be back with more on the city.
Planning for retirement isn't easy. If you don't know where to start, join Beth Andrews of Net Worth Advisors every Saturday at 1 for the Net Worth Financial Hour. Beth shares helpful tips and strategies that just might change the course of your retirement. Listen every Saturday at 1 to the Net Worth Financial Hour with Beth Andrews of Net Worth Advisors. Net Worth Advisors, LLC, is a registered investment advisor.
My friends at NASCO Roofing take pride in exceeding customer expectations. Stephanie from Murraysville used NASCO for minor roof repairs. When a storm created substantial roof damage, she called NASCO. NASCO worked with Stephanie's insurance company and installed a beautiful brand new roof. NASCO has satisfied thousands like Stephanie. Get NASCO on your roof. Call NASCO Roofing, 412-373-2000, 412-373-2000. Most jobs done in a day. Special financing available. NASCO Roofing, NASCO.
Here's the latest from the KDKA Community Message Board.
Join KDKA at the 2026 44th Annual Pittsburgh Home and Garden Show at the David Lawrence Convention Center. Stop in throughout the entire 10-day show to browse hundreds of show exhibitors and shop for thousands of home improvement items, services, and ideas. New to Rivers Casino? Join now and earn up to $1,000 free slot play. Stop by Rush Rewards on your next visit to start earning today. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. Looking for an incredible Pittsburgh fresh-made hoagie? Visit Tim's Corner Market in Beachview. Fresh house-made bread stacked high with the finest meats and premium toppings and packed with Pittsburgh flavor. The hoagie you didn't know you needed at Tim's Corner Market on Broadway Avenue in Beachview.
Details at KDKARadio.com.
My name is Whitney Allen, and I'm a widow. My husband, Ryan, died. We never thought we'd ever have to use life insurance, but the unexpected happened. With Ethos, signing up was fast and 100% online. You can get a quote in seconds, apply in minutes, and get same-day coverage. No medical exams, and you can get up to $3 million worth of coverage. I'm grateful we were prepared.
Get your free quote at ethos.com/radio. That's ethos.com/radio. Paid spokesperson. Time spent on application may vary. Online health questions required.
Hear that? That's Mike. He took ZzzQuil Pure Z's, so now he's sleeping soundly on a Sunday night. ZzzQuil Pure Z's are fast-acting melatonin gummies with a complementary botanical blend to help Mike get the sleep he needs to wake up refreshed and ready to conquer Monday.
Let's do this Monday.
ZzzQuil Pure Z's, just for sleep. Really great sleep. These statements have not been evaluated by the Food and Drug Administration. These products are not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease. Use as directed.
Think back to the last time you were in nature. What comes to mind? Hiking through a lush forest, floating on a lazy river, or perhaps watching a vibrant sunset on a beach full of glistening plastic bottles and food wrappers. Unfortunately, this isn't a joke. Here in the U.S., we generate the most plastic waste in the world, with 70% of it ending up in landfills. And by the time you're done listening to this ad, more than a dump truck's worth of plastic will have made it into the ocean. Plastic has become a useful part of our everyday lives, but it's polluting the air, water, and soil that all life needs to survive. This is a human problem that can be solved with human action. But it's going to take all of us, from individuals to businesses to governments and everyone in between. Help create a cleaner future for both people and nature. Visit wwf.earth/plastics.
The KDKA radio text line is driven by Kenny Ross Auto Group. Find your best deal and Pittsburgh's best warranty at kennyross.com.
SchultzFord.com. 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 SchultzFord.com.
Listen to KDKA Radio on the Odyssey, iHeartRadio, or TuneIn apps.
Hear about it, then talk about it. 100.1 FM and AM 1020. KDKA.
Welcome back, Pittsburgh, this stormy evening. My name is Brandon McGinley. I'm from the Pittsburgh Post-Gazette. I am filling in tonight, and I want to keep the talk local. And last segment talked about how details matter in terms of how the city presents itself, especially downtown, especially the places where we need people to be to generate economic activity, to generate the dynamism that this city needs to thrive. If you have any ideas for the kind of things, the small things that this mayor should get on, I hope you'll call in. I'd love to talk about it. I'm going to flip it a little bit and talk about an area where a lack of attention to detail has caused problems in this city. And that's with the PPS, Pittsburgh Public School District. Just this week, City Controller Rachel Heisler released a report on the procurement practices of PPS. Now, this sounds like the most boring, I can almost hear people turning off their radios. Procurement. Oh, my goodness, procurement at PPS. Who cares? Okay. PPS costs more per student, spends more per student than just about any school district in this state for outcomes that are bottom of the barrel. People say, how do they spend so much? Why does it cost so much to educate kids in the city, educate them in many cases quite poorly, despite, I should say, the best efforts of many outstanding teachers who work for PPS and do their best in really difficult circumstances? Well, the controller, Rachel Heisler, points to a very obvious thing. The district very rarely uses competitive bids for its contracts. It does it basically, the district uses competitive bidding and requests for proposals at basically the bare minimum that the state law requires, which always makes me wonder about state law and maybe thinking state law should get updated, especially for bigger school districts like this one. But just for one contract alone, where it had to do with a multi-million-dollar contract having to do with the management of the district's copiers and printers, that cost over the course of 5 years, if memory serves, cost over the course of 5 years over $6 million. The district was about to re-up on that contract without putting it out to bid. Someone reached out. This is actually from 5 years ago. This is what the controller, this is what the report was about. Someone reached out and said, hey, I can do this for a lot cheaper. And they were ignored. Until eventually, finally got to the right person. There was an informal bid process, and then they gave it to the original guy, but they got a better price because there was competition. And these are the kind of details that I think, there's the public details of making the city look pretty, beautiful, whatever, attractive. But then there's the behind the scenes details. And this is really where the rubber meets the road. This is where, and I don't want to spend too much time talking about this, but this is where Ed Gainey really struggled, was the behind the scenes details of actually running a city. With PPS, you have a situation where they have for being in terms of education, I think it's fair to say very progressive in its approach. It is very conservative in terms of its that way it actually runs. It does not like to change. It has very, very small comfort zone. It's very set in its ways. This comes out very clearly in the controller's report, which followed on a much bigger report from last year, which talked more broadly about how the district is possibly leaving tens of millions of dollars on the table every year because it refuses to invest in doing a simple bid process for some of its expensive contracts. That is money. And by the way, the district keeps raising taxes. It's limited by law on how much it can raise taxes, but it just raised taxes another few percent going into this year. So it's asking everybody else to pay more while it isn't willing to take some very simple actions to get out of its comfort zone, maybe disappoint some longtime vendors, maybe disappoint some people with longtime relationships with the district in order to actually serve students and the taxpayers better by delivering an education at a lower price point or using the money that is currently being spent on too expensive contracts on things that are actually related to everyday education of the kids. So details, whether we're talking about this is how you can, this is one of the main ways that you can distinguish a public administration, whether it is a mayor or a school district or your home local township. Distinguish one who is suited for and is good at basically public administration, and those that are not, are they willing to get into the nitty-gritty? Because whatever you think about, maybe you think government is easy and that anybody can get in and do it. Government is one of the most complicated systems that you can imagine in terms of getting things done, even at the small level. Every little thing. This was a mantra that I had and still have at the Post-Gazette. Every time we come across some issue that we want to write about, or in this case that I want to talk about on the air, you will always find that it is more difficult than that it is more complicated than you thought it was. If you think it's easy, if you think it's simple, you're wrong. And I think that this is certainly one of the issues that with Mayor Gainey was that he came in with a lot of people who didn't have government experience and who came from the activist world, who came from other parts, who came from other parts of activism and advocacy and all of this, and thought, oh, well, now we have the levers of power. If we just press the button that says lower housing costs, then we'll have lower housing costs. It's not that simple. Everything is a massively complex system. And you need people who have strong attention to detail and who are willing to maybe upset the apple cart a little bit, who are willing to do things differently, even if the government or the school district, whatever, has a comfort zone, or they have relationships that they don't want to upset or whatever. Upsetting people comes with the job. Cutting off people and companies that are giving a bad deal to taxpayers is part of the job. And I think that lack of attention to detail on the PPS front then comes through in so many other things, and is why I continue to believe that the state needs to get involved because I don't think PPS can reform itself. It's too set in its ways.
This is Joe Cordell of Cordell & Cordell. Cordell & Cordell is the largest family law firm in the country, with over 35 years of helping clients navigate divorce. If you or someone you care about is facing a family law issue, let us set up a 1-hour Cordell Consult. The Cordell Consult is a meeting with a local attorney who will give you clear guidance about your options, whether it's a separation, a postnuptial agreement, divorce, or custody. CordellCordell.com.
Pittsburgh and Cranberry Township. Joseph Cordell, licensed in Missouri and Illinois only.
Hospitals help make Pennsylvania communities strong. They attract local businesses and workers. They make residents safer and healthier. They connect patients with the doctors and nurses they need to get better. But hospitals face challenges in Pennsylvania. Dozens have closed, and many more are at risk. If we want strong, thriving communities, we need strong hospitals. Paid for by the Hospital and Health System Association of Pennsylvania.
Diabetes, high blood pressure, anxiety meds, everyone's on them. If you're a 50-year-old male, maybe a bit porky, and you may even have type 2 diabetes, $1 million of term insurance may only cost you about $200 a month. Call Term Provider. Speak with Big Lou at 800-700-6898. Big Lou will find a term life policy for you even if you have type 2 diabetes, are overweight, or have high blood pressure. Term Provider has helped thousands of people like you who think they can't afford term life insurance. To buy $1 million of affordable term life for you, all you need to do is call Big Lou at 800-700-6898. Lou will make sure the scales are tipped in your favor. Call 800-700-6898. Big Lou will answer your call and work to fit you into a term life policy that you can afford. Remember, Big Lou's like you. He's on meds too. Call 800-700-6898 or biglou.com.
Being diagnosed with leukemia, lymphoma, myeloma, or one of over 100 other types of blood cancer makes people want more time to do the things they love. We are Blood Cancer United. We do the most for more people with blood cancer. Join us at bloodcancerunited.org.
Pittsburgh is on the clock. Our comprehensive draft coverage is powered by Bowser Chevrolet. It's more than just the players. It's the vibe of the city. Where to go? What to do? we have you covered. It's presented by Target Freight Management and brought to you by your local AAA travel office and by Groundworks, formerly Baker's Waterproofing. On the voice of Pittsburgh, 100.1 FM and AM 1020 KDKA. From the Aetna Medicare Studios.
Proud to be the voice of Pittsburgh. 100.1 FM and AM 1020 KDKA.
CBS News Brief. The price of oil surging, reaching $90 a barrel due to the Iran conflict. CBS's Nicole Killian.
President Trump told reporters aboard Air Force One that he's not worried about oil and gas prices and believes they will ultimately come down, describing the Iran operation as a short excursion.
A group of Latin American leaders gathered in Florida for the Shield of the Americas Summit aimed at helping each other curtail cartels. Secretary of State Marco Rubio.
We want the world to see that when you are a friend and an ally of the United States, it is a good thing. It's reciprocated. It comes back the other way as well.
Clocks jump forward an hour overnight for daylight saving time, but CBS's Michael Toscano reports.
Fatal car crashes temporarily jump in the first few days after the springtime change, mostly in the morning, and blamed on sleep deprivation. Then there's the cardiac connection.
The American Heart Association says there's an uptick in heart attacks. CBS News Brief, I'm Heather Bosch.
Check engine or ABS light on? Take the guesswork out of your warning lights with O'Reilly Veriscan. It's free. Ask for O'Reilly Veriscan.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
Snakes, zombies, public speaking. The list of fears is endless. But the real danger is in your hand when you're behind the wheel. Distracted driving is what's really scary and even deadly. Eyes forward. Don't drive distracted. Brought to you by NHTSA and the Ad Council.
Pittsburgh's very own board-certified and licensed hypnotherapist Dan Bitchoff of the PA Hypnosis Center is here to help you. He has helped train U.S. Olympic team members control their brains, stay relaxed, focused, and in control, giving them the edge for the gold. He's recognized by many organizations around the world as one of the top hypnotherapists anywhere. He has gotten over 3,000 people to give up cigarettes for good in the last 22 years. He's helped folks even who've tried gastric bypass to lose weight. He can help you and give you a 98% success guarantee. Call 724-934-8446. That's Dan Bitchoff, the PA Hypnosis Center. Mention KDKA and get $50 off any program. But call for a free consultation today, 724-934-8446. The PA Hypnosis Center with Dan Bitchoff. Make that call today, 724-934-8446.
When a warrior faces adversity, he fights through it. He finds a way. Freedom isn't free. Rolling strong. Belief. Believe you can, and you will.
Wheelchairs for Warriors provides mobility solutions to veterans and first responders injured in the line of duty. Join the mission and visit wheelchairsforwarriors.org.
Straight Talk Wireless presents Pickup Truck Wisdom.
Trust is earned. That's why I've stuck with Straight Talk. Same price since 2009 on Verizon's 5G network. Cause shoot, anyone can make a promise. Keeping it for years, that means something.
Now plans starting at $25 a month with 4 lines. Find us at straighttalk.com and Walmart. Straight Talk Wireless. Straightforward. Always. Same price claim applies only to the base monthly price of our $45 plan from October 2009 to present.
If you need a new appliance, this is your sign. Shop at Lowe's now to get up to 35% off and next-day delivery on hundreds of major appliances. A new appliance now means an easier-to-do list later. Our best lineup is at Lowe's. Valid through 3/18 while supplies last. Selection varies by location. Order by 4 p.m. Available Monday through Saturday. Subject to availability. Fees, exclusions, and restrictions apply. See Lowe's.com/appliance delivery for more details.
The KDKA AccuWeather forecast is brought to you by JP Roofing and Siding, Pittsburgh's #1 Platinum Preferred Roofing Replacement Contractor. Call 412-829-7711.
Heavy gusty thunderstorms around through early this evening, which may produce localized damage and wind gusts and lingering clouds late, low 48. It turns out partly sunny and cooler tomorrow, high 62. For AccuWeather, I'm meteorologist Scott Erickson, 100.1 FM and AM 1020 KDKA.
All right, hope you're enjoying the weekend. We'll be back at it. Can't wait. Regular show Monday, 2 to 6. Colin Dunlap right here, KDKA.
Welcome back, KDKA this evening. This is Brandon McGinley filling in. I'm from the Pittsburgh Post-Gazette. And, I got to say, tonight, I didn't realize until just a little bit ago, the news break helped remind me that it's daylight savings time shift tonight. And I used to not care. I used to think that complaining about it was silly. It's just an hour. It's a minor inconvenience, not a big deal. But now with kids, I got to tell you, I hate it. I especially hate it when you lose an hour of sleep. But I don't even like it when you gain the hour. The shift wreaks havoc on the kids' systems. And I know that, I guess apparently the science says that, it's bad for adults too. But, I don't know. I felt like as a teenager or whatever, I could handle it. I'd never really noticed it. But man, kids lose it on the day after. When we get them up tomorrow for mass, it's going to be ugly. And it's not just the losing the hour of sleep. I mean, that's bad enough. It's something with it totally messes with their rhythms and their expectations for how light it's going to be or how dark it's going to be in a way that they cannot regulate in the way that I think I can. But maybe I'm cranky too. I don't know. I have to ask my wife if I'm cranky too on daylight saving shifts. I always talk about killing it entirely or going to all daylight savings or all standard time. And I don't know. I haven't looked into it for a while. I think I feel like the momentum for it is building because the reasons for daylight savings time are not really relevant anymore, if I remember correctly. I think it mostly had to do with agriculture and stuff like that. And so I could totally. I mean, it does seem like there's momentum, but then you have to pick which one, and I don't remember what the pros and cons are. But I think I could see it happening though. I could see. I mean, it seems like it polls well. Getting rid of it, especially polls well right after one of the shifts because everyone's so bummed out by it, especially this one. If you do polling after tonight, if you do polling tomorrow or through the rest of the week, I'm sure people will say they want to get rid of it because losing that hour really stinks. And like I said, I don't think it's like super relevant anymore. The shift that is to everyday life. Getting on a consistent schedule would make more sense. It's the kind of, I don't know, it's the kind of popular thing I could see Trump doing just to get a headline. I'm surprised he hasn't actually. I could totally see that. Yeah. Well, I would be remiss if I did not mention, since we're talking about local stuff, local politics, and just things that matter right here in Pittsburgh. This week we did lose one of the great characters in Pittsburgh politics for the past generation. Longtime city councilwoman and city council president Darlene Harris passed away this week, and I was not on the scene, as a media figure when she was in council, but she had this such larger than life persona that I was very aware of her. I'm not a North Side guy. I'm a South Side guy or a Brookline guy, but local politics has a way of producing these great characters, and whether you agreed with her or didn't agree with her, she was always good for a quote. She was always good to stir the pot. And I loved seeing on Twitter, on X, she had she and Bill Peduto never really, they had a tense relationship. He posted this great picture of him as mayor, standing next to Darlene Harris, and she was on a horse for a reason I don't fully understand. But it's a good reminder that even when you disagree, even when, the politics don't always line up, you could still have that kind of relationship. And I just, the city could use every city could use with more of those kind of characters, even when they can be frustrating, even when they can, sometimes stir the pot in a way that isn't as constructive as we'd like. I feel like Pittsburgh is a bit low on those characters these days. I mean, we have some interesting characters on county council, but I think I don't know. I feel like, and here's what was great about someone like Darlene Harris, and the kind of characters that I think local politics can and should produce. Ideally, our interesting characters shouldn't be ideologues, okay? They shouldn't be motivated by some kind of abstract notion of left-wing or right-wing or whatever, or progressivism or conservatism. They might have that as a core principle, but ultimately, the work of city politics is about the give and take. It's about getting roads paved, and that has nothing to do with progressivism or conservatism. It's about balancing budgets. It's about things like painting railroad trellises and trestles, and making sure that the public safety is being provided for. One of the things that anyone will ever always say about Darlene Harris is that she was absolutely passionate about the North Side, and that's the kind of friction I'd like to see more of in the city. I'd like to see more like North Side, South Side, East End friction, instead of it being, progressives versus moderates or whatever, or, God forbid it becomes an Israel-Palestine thing, when we should be talking about what's right for Pittsburghers right here and right now. And that does mean that, you're going to have someone from the North Side who's advocating for the North Side's interests, even if that means coming into conflict with someone who's representing Brookline's interests, or representing Squirrel Hill's interests, or, Sheridan or whatever. That's the kind of tension that's good for politics. If everybody is agreeing all the time, that's no good. This is a problem with county council, by the way. It's now 14-1 Democrats to Republicans. That's not good for getting fresh ideas into the system. That's not good for actually governing. And I mean, when the county council was first constituted, I think it was 9-6 Democrats to Republicans. Democrats had a majority. They could more or less do what they wanted, but they had to keep their people happy. They had to kind of, you had to have the give and take, and Republicans could put forward legislation. They could be part of the game, part of the system. You had to get Republican votes to get a lot of things done, because it wasn't about partisanship. It was about making sure that Shaler's interests were represented, along with North Fayette's interests were represented, along with Wilkinsburg. But now, it's what, 14-1, and it's all about the internal politics of the Democratic Party, and constantly jockeying for that and all this ideology crap, instead of actually getting good ideas, pragmatic ideas across the line. And I know, I can tell you right now, and I can guarantee you that people who have run this county under the system will tell you that it's a better system when there's more friction between the parties, when there's more ideas being introduced, when you have to make a deal. When you have to make a deal instead of people moving in lockstep. And those deals end up benefiting, when you have good representation, they end up benefiting the neighborhoods. They benefit the communities, because your representative is incentivized to get a good deal for you, and not just be playing ideological games or jockeying for the next position or whatever. And so I just, when someone like Darlene Harris passes away, could be a kind of abrasive figure, but in a way that made the city better, that made it a more interesting place, that made it a place that, and she kept getting reelected, by the way, because the people of the North Side knew she was fighting for her. And that's great. We could use more of that and less ideology. More fighting for your people in your neighborhoods and less posturing about global affairs when you're supposed to be running Allegheny County or running the city of Pittsburgh. So I think we could use more folks like Darlene Harris in the city, more characters, more people who make this city a more interesting place to live in.
We're only 47 days until the draft. Everything you need to know surrounding the draft is right here. It's brought to you by Bill Few Associates Wealth Management, 100.1 FM and AM 1020 KDKA.
Keeping up with bills can be tough, but you don't have to do it alone. Duquesne Light Company's Customer Assistant Program helps income-qualified customers lower their monthly electric bills. The employees at Duquesne Light realize these are difficult times, and they're committed to supporting our communities. Applying is simple. Just visit DuquesneLight.com/CAP and apply online. Don't wait. See if you qualify today. At Duquesne Light Company, they are here to help when you need it most.
Okay, I have to tell you, I was just looking on eBay where I go for all kinds of things I love, and there it was.
That hologram trading card. One of the rarest, the last one I needed for my set. Shiny like the
designer handbag of my dreams. One of a kind. eBay had it, and now everyone's asking, ooh, where'd you get your
windshield wipers? eBay has all the parts that fit my car. No more annoying, just beautiful.
Millions of finds, each with a story. eBay. Things people love.
Jen, I didn't know you shopped here.
Hey, I'm hunting for something fresh for spring.
Oh, girl, skip them all. Jewelry Television has the best spring looks right now.
JTV, way ahead of you. Just hit up JTV.com yesterday. Scored the cutest clover earrings, 2 tennis bracelets, and this gorgeous pearl ring.
Right now, new customers get $20 off any purchase of $99 or more at JTV.com.
Oh, and gold hoops and this turquoise bracelet.
Just a couple things, huh?
Maybe more than a couple.
The Big K Morning Show with Larry Richards.
President and CEO of Visit Pittsburgh, Mr. Jared Bacher. Countdown to the NFL draft continues.
We're keeping a close eye on how the hotels are picking up for the draft. We've also done a lot of research on all of the other cities, with Green Bay, Detroit, and Kansas City being the most recent hosts for hotel performance.
Weekday mornings 5:30 to 10 on the Voice of Pittsburgh, 100.1 FM and AM 1020 KDKA.
Think back to the last time you were in nature. What comes to mind? Hiking through a lush forest, floating on a lazy river, or perhaps watching a vibrant sunset on a beach full of glistening plastic bottles and food wrappers. Unfortunately, this isn't a joke. Here in the U.S., we generate the most plastic waste in the world, with 70% of it ending up in landfills. And by the time you're done listening to this ad, more than a dump truck's worth of plastic will have made it into the ocean. Plastic has become a useful part of our everyday lives, but it's polluting the air, water, and soil that all life needs to survive. This is a human problem that can be solved with human action. But it's going to take all of us, from individuals to businesses to governments and everyone in between. Help create a cleaner future for both people and nature. Visit wwf.earth/plastics.
I was ordering food for the office from the same few places for too long.
For workplaces suffering with office food fatigue, every day's a struggle.
Before starting Easy Cater, I assumed having no good vegan options for Carl in finance was normal.
Easy Cater is designed to treat OFF with a huge variety of favorite restaurants, plus tools to help you meet dietary needs and stay on budget. Used daily, one platform lets you save time and shine. Ask your app store about Easy Cater or start an order at easycater.com.
Hola amigos, Brad Evans here. Check out this booming voice and Pat Boyle on BetMGM tonight, covering the biggest sports stories from coast to coast, live and interactive on the free Odyssey app, discussing NFL offseason news and getting you ready for the madness in college hoops. BetMGM tonight with me, Brad Evans and Pat Boyle, live and interactive, Monday through Friday night starting at 6 Eastern, presented by BetMGM. Always live on the free Odyssey app and watch on YouTube at BetMGM tonight.
SchultzFord.com, 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 SchultzFord.com.
Everything you need, every time you listen. 100.1 FM and AM 1020 KDKA.
Welcome back, everybody. We are rapidly coming to the end of my time with you this evening. Just to wrap it up, we started by talking about Iran and all of the uncertainty in the world today. I do believe that this is the most uncertain, most potentially dangerous, or at the very least transformative moment in the world since March of 2020, when COVID was just kicking off. And I feel the same way also about how there's such a radical difference in the way people view this moment. Some people see the war in Iran as being very easy to achieve, limited objectives, and in 2 or 3 weeks, Iran will have been changed in a serious way. Oil will be back to where it was. The Strait of Hormuz will be open, and everything will be back to normal. And other people, and I think more correctly, see this as being a watershed moment, that the United States will not be out of Iran for potentially a very long time, that it will be very difficult to get the world economy back on track, that getting shipping lanes open will be a much more difficult task, and that we could be talking about this week and everything that changed this week for a very, very long time. And with all that said, with all that uncertainty, with all that sense of, at least for me, I feel rather grim about it all. And when I don't feel negatively about, when I want to perk myself up, when I want to be, embrace some optimism again, when I want to think about parts of our shared life as communities that I think, are looking up or can be, and that we have control over. Like you and I, unless there's a general or a cabinet member listening to this broadcast, it's unlikely that anybody listening to this can help what's going on in Iran. We can follow it. We can form opinions about it. That's our right. It's, to some degree, our duty as Americans. But we're not going to change it. We're along for the ride. I think it could be a pretty bumpy one. But we aren't along for the ride in our own neighborhoods. We aren't along for... That's why I'm glad to talk about Corey O'Connor painting a bridge between the Strip District and downtown. That's going to make a difference. And pointing out things like that and talking to the mayor's office or your local, leadership of your borough or township, when you see something that can be changed in your community, you can actually make a difference in your community. You can actually talk to the people who can make the call to change something that is not going the way it should. We have agency, we have control in this city, at the city level or at the neighborhood level, in a way that we don't at the national or global level. Yeah, at the national level we can vote, but after that, we're along for the ride. So I would, and this even goes to what I was talking earlier about patriotism. Okay, this is 250th anniversary of America, and you know what? Maybe you have complicated feelings about America when Donald Trump is throwing missiles at Iran, or we talked about earlier when America appears to be responsible for bombing a school in Iran. We might have complicated feelings about what's going on. Maybe you have complicated feelings because you love Donald Trump and think that the country needs to be on a totally different path. And maybe you think he's getting us there and maybe not. But I think people have complicated feelings about this country right now. But when I think about, like, what am I deeply invested in? What communities really shape my life and my family's life? It's my neighborhood of Brookline. It's this city. That's where we can make a difference. And that's where when you think about patriotism, I love America because it's my country, because it has been force for good in so many respects because it's such a remarkable and long-lasting experiment in a kind of government that I think has proved in many respects to be the best designed government, certainly the best designed Republican style of government that's ever been conceived. I love it for all those reasons. But I also love it because it's home. And my first home is my street. And then it's my neighborhood. And then it's my city. And then it's my state. And then it's America. I love America because it's the place I call home. It's the people I care about. And that starts close to home. I think we can sometimes get too bogged down in thinking about grand notions of what America is or isn't, what we'd like it to be, or whether we're making America great again, or whether we're making America stupid again, or whatever, or healthy again. Sure, we want America to be a good place to live, want it to be a great place to live, but that starts close to home. And if you're having trouble with how you're feeling about America, start by loving your neighborhood. Start by loving your city. And you'll realize that that's where patriotism really begins. It begins close to home. Loving your country begins by loving your neighbor. And that builds up to become the kind of love for not just, you might not love the president. You don't have to love the president. You might not love his opponents. You might not love whatever. You don't have to love them. But you do have to love your place. You do have to love. You will love. You do love. Just by virtue of being a human being, you do love the land that you live on and the communities you're a part of. Start there. If we start there, then we can start to, then we can be more optimistic about the world we live in and about our ability